A wee disclaimer here. We are not film experts. We're doing this for fun and to try and shine a light on films which are seen as rotten on movie review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, and to poke fun at them as well. It's a chance to highlight that the critical consensus isn't always everything.
We'd also like to remind everyone that we're about to go over all the film's details, including the plot. So there will be spoilers. Also, we just want to mention it's okay to disagree with our opinion. If you do, you can tell us and become part of the discussion. With that in mind, thanks for joining us and enjoy.
All right, I'm ready. Welcome to Rank Rotten or Rotten Movies podcast, the podcast where we talk about movies which are rotten on Rotten Tomatoes and ask if they are actually rotten, and then we often drink beverages while we do so.
It does seem to have become a thing.
It has. Today, Power Brew.
Oh, I do love it.
It's very good. It's very good. It tastes like Iron Brew 32. Some people for our age group might remember Iron Brew 32, but it was like an energy version of Iron Brew.
I remember it, but having like a chicken or a big bird in the
I had
advert.
an advert like that. I can't mind what the advert was. Something to do with that, Anyway, Power Brew is a favourite because it's only 100 calories a can and it's got a nice amount of caffeine and a little bit of sugar and it's just right. It tastes great. I love it.
Also, as far as I know, I might be wrong, there's only 3 flavours.
I think there's Diablo Cherry
Yeah.
and Tropical Bopical or something. And then there's the original, which is the one we have now.
And I like all 3.
There's a purple one too. I can't remember what it is.
Is there a purple
yeah,
one?
It's
I'm
some
not
sort
sure.
of berry flavour or something.
Yeah, I'm not keen on purple stuff.
Alright, well, but Iron Brew and Energy is a match made in heaven for this house. We drink a lot of Iron Brew. I just had one of those unicorn tears Iron Brews, which I'm a bit obsessed with just now. Rhubarb and custardy flavour. Oh, it's gorgeous. I love it.
Yuck, not my flavour.
Nessie Nectar's also quite good.
I had a Nessie Nectar today, yeah.
It's like peach. It tastes like peach fromage frais.
It does. It's got that kind of apricot-y flavour. Oh, lovely.
Aye, that's it. It's maybe more like that. Maybe I'm getting confused.
Spoiler alert for people who wanted to guess. My bad.
Yeah. Sorry, you're supposed to guess.
I don't know. Don't think so.
Nah.
Well, you've had your chance.
So, Kat, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you, yes.
Cool.
Excited to start the week in the right way.
That's it. Well, you're off to bloody London this week.
I am off to London this week for work on Thursday.
So you could go to London and I'll basically edit this episode of the podcast that we're currently recording.
Seems like a equal division of labour.
Well, yeah, we've been watching some movies recently too. We watched, so the other night we watched The Bad Guys.
We did watch Bad Guys.
Bad Guys I thought it was going to be better than it was. I didn't enjoy it too much.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
It was a bit basic.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I do agree.
Yeah.
I think it had so much potential and the animation style was really cool.
Also, just no good in the goofy rabbit hole again. Because the animals' behaviour was all odd because some of them talked, some of them didn't talk. And I was like, this is too Goofy movie-esque for me.
Everybody else was human. That was what really
there was also
me.
humans, but there was also animals, and there was animals that didn't talk. And then I was like, oh, I'm trying to escape the Goofy obsession animal thing that I've got going on, and I can't. And even when I'm watching another movie, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I can see how that would be quite distressing for you.
Well, anyway, last night was a change in gear because after that, last night we watched Bookworm.
We did watch Bookworm,
which was awesome. I think that only came out last year. I can't mind, but it's a New Zealand-based movie starring Elijah Wood, who plays a girl's dad, and the little girl's mum has an accident and she falls into a coma, and then he comes over to look after her, and they go on a hunt to find a mythical panther. What's it called? The Canterbury Panther, which is a genuine cryptid in the area.
Yeah.
And the movie was based around them trying to find it. It was one of the best I've seen in ages.
Honestly, it was such a good film. It might actually enter one of my favourite films.
Period.
Yeah.
So good.
Very good.
But anyway, I mean, that's enough talking about mediocre films and films that we loved, because today we are here to talk about Twilight.
Sparkly vampires and all.
Yeah, I'll reserve judgment for what I thought of it. You may be able to guess, but listen, let's just chat throughout, right? Kat said to me, she was like, vampire stuff, oh, it's vampires and that. And I'm like, yeah, cool. So I'm currently reading through the audiobook versions of Anne Rice's books. So currently on the first one, Interview with the Vampire, right? And I got those, it's like, I got a deal with Audible where I got like a token for 99p for 4 months or something. So I got 4 or 3 or whatever it is, I can't mind. And I'm listening to those, and I was like, so my vampire interests kind of go in there in the background, and I'm listening to that when I'm going for walks and stuff like that. So what should I expect? Something around those lines? And Kat was like, no.
No. Aim way lower.
Yeah, it feels like Twilight sort of, it was like a teeny bopper hijacking of everything about vampires, and changing it, and you're all right. Like, the thing is, people get mad about the change in lore and stuff. Like, there's a lot of things in it in this that aren't in other vampire things. That's all right, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you just can't take it that seriously.
Nah, not really. Well, anyway, it seems like we're already talking about the film, so why don't we go into talking about some details about it before we go into the plot?
Let's do it.
Excellent. So Twilight came out on the 21st of November 2008.
I know, it doesn't feel that long ago.
No, really, no. It's 2 hours long. And it had a budget of only $37 million, and I would say that shows significantly throughout.
I would agree.
And it's, but so if you're wondering why they had 5 of these movies, this is why. The box office total for this film, just this one, was $408.5 million.
What a profit.
It's friggin' insane.
It's wild.
Do you not think so?
Yeah, that is like a huge return. So the director of this masterpiece is Catherine Hardwicke, and it was written by Melissa Rosenberg. The production studio was Summit Entertainment, and obviously this was based on a book. We might have seen it once or twice. I've seen it a lot in charity shops.
Yeah, I'll bet.
But that's an aside. The taglines for this film are, "When you can live forever, what do you live for?"
Okay.
And "Forever begins now." And they put like full stops in between each word there.
Oh yeah,
so,
forever begins now, like that.
Yeah, and "nothing will be the same." And I'm like, you're telling me nothing will be the same?
Yeah, you're going to change the world forever with these movies, apparently.
This is it.
An interesting point for me to know here is that Stephanie Meyer didn't write the screenplay, clearly.
Yeah, it was really...
So Stephanie Meyer was the lady that wrote all these books.
Yes, she did.
And they're still going, because I saw she released another couple after the main series, which are like from different points of view and stuff, and it's like, okay.
I'm not a big fan of when people do that.
Yeah, well, I don't know, I like the idea of the twisted Disney tales to
like
tell
those.
a different story from a different sort of point in time, but this is... this is just her telling her same story but with a different character's point of view, and maybe it's going to add to it, I guess, for people who are big fans of the series, but hey, whatever, eh?
Yeah.
The synopsis for this movie was: high school student Bella Swan, always a bit of a misfit, doesn't expect life to change much when she moves from sunny Arizona to rainy Washington State. Then she meets Edward Cullen, a handsome but mysterious teen whose eyes seem to peer directly into her soul.
Ooh.
Edward is a vampire whose family does not drink blood, and Bella, far from being frightened, enters into a dangerous romance with her immortal soulmate.
Who wouldn't want to watch this film?
Me. Sorry, Cullen Skink. What is Cullen Skink? Because it's all I could think about through this whole movie, and I think it's a fish soup.
You're right, it's a fish soup.
It's like a chowder.
Yeah, Scottish delicacy.
Chowder.
I think it's smoked haddock.
Smoked haddock in a soup sort of thing. Hey, people are mad about it. I know people who love it, but I would never touch it with a barge pole. It's not my thing.
Yeah, I was once in a cafe with somebody who ordered the Cullen Skink, and I immediately wanted to leave.
Yeah, I don't want your honking fish soup.
Nowhere
Away
near
you
me.
go.
Yeah.
Your soup is jobbies, and I don't want it.
Yeah. There's plenty of other Scottish things you can have if you want.
Tablet.
Yeah, just eat tablet.
I eat tablet considerably. Your dad used to make tablet all the time. I need to speak to him and hint again, because then maybe he'll make me a...
It's
he'll
alright.
probably listen to this and he'll be like, oh, I'm going to make Mikey some tablet. But I need to space it out, because
Yeah.
Tablet's lethal. If you
It's
dig in what it is,
so
it's
bad.
like solid sugar and fat. It's
Basically,
delicious.
yeah. And also, it's the nightmare for your dentist. Like,
Dentist no like you.
yeah, no, they'll probably actually love you.
Listen, Martin doesn't need to know, right?
I'll no tell him if you don't.
Right, tell Martin I'm going to eat all the tablet. So I was digging up some interesting wee tidbits about this film, and mostly because I wanted to get a picture of what the deal was with these books and how big they were, and what the deal was with the movies, and what the feel was at the time. So basically, the first Twilight book, called Twilight, came out on October the 5th, 2005, right?
Okay.
So I was immediately like, were you aiming to try and kind of bring this out around Halloween? Because there is nothing Halloweeny about this. Might have just been a coincidence that it was October, mind you.
I don't believe in coincidences.
No, not really. So I was looking through the internet, and I found an article about names, right? It's on a website called fatherly.com. I don't really know what the hell it was. I just never had seen the website before, but I found this link, and I'll link it into the show notes again. It is, in 2006, the name Isabella went from the 48th most popular girl name, right, to the 5th most popular
that's a big
in
jump.
the US. That's crazy. And for me, like, they're not saying that it's directly, but it coincides with that book coming out. You see, at the end of 2005, and then by this time in 2006, the name Isabella had been, given to the countless girls.
Yeah, it is a lovely name.
It is. Oh no, it is. But it's just, I find it really interesting that, you know, I know that there's people out there who have kids called Khaleesi, for example.
Yeah, that one always feels a bit, ugh.
It's a weird one because it's not even her name. Like,
yeah.
It really irritates when people refer to Dany Targaryen from Game of Thrones and from the Song of Ice and Fire books as Khaleesi, because it's not her name.
Yeah.
It's a title. That's the way I've always understood it, you know?
Yeah.
If it's like all your bairns or your cat, Khaleesi, Ken. But then call your bairns or your cat whatever you want, you know?
There's worse names out there.
Who am I to stop you? But the interesting thing was too, is the books, right? Stephanie Meyer wrote them on the back of a dream.
Oh, right, okay.
She had a dream about a young girl meeting a sort of vampire, and then she had she couldn't get it out of her head or whatever. She had this idea, right? And basically, she went from having this idea to then it be getting a $750,000 3-book deal.
Wow.
Within a very short space of time. Right?
Goodness.
It's incredible. It's a life-changing amount.
It is, but when you consider how big the movies are and how many people bought the book probably off the back of the movies.
Well, I know, but it doesn't mean that. So it's just like J.K. Rowling, unfortunately, probably gets money every time somebody buys a Harry Potter book.
Yeah.
Stephanie Meyer's going to be getting money every time somebody buys one of these movies, every time somebody buys a book, you know, an audio book, whatever.
Yeah. And how was she to know it was going to be so stellar, you know, back before there was even the whiff of a movie?
Ah, exactly.
You know, and it's still an incredible amount of money, please don't get me wrong, but just...
That's it, and it sold. So this was another article, sorry to say, it was azcentral.com I found this on, and I'll link this one and all, right? And it's basically that the books as a whole, right, have sold, so the article was written in 2021, so the books as a whole have sold around 160 million copies.
That explains why there's so many in charity shops.
Exactly that. That was what I was thinking when you said that a minute ago. But also, right, interestingly, that Twilight takes 5th place among the 150 best-selling print books between 2004 and 2021.
Okay.
So it's a short space of time, but it's still quite a number, you know? It sits basically just below the final 2 Harry Potter books and 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, wow, what company to be in?
Which ironically was initially written as a Twilight fan fiction.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mentally. So I just wanted to give you a snapshot of it. I mean, I certainly remember Breaking Dawn coming out. I worked in a bookshop when that came out, and the amount that came out and the amount of people that came out and the amount that we sold was incredible. That was when I realised how big Twilight was, because I've seen these books and I was like, what the hell are these? And the guy's like, these sell like crazy.
That's crazy.
You know,
that must have been interesting.
It was a lot of work, a lot of shifting books around, a lot of midnight openings for people. Not me personally, I was a stockroom guy. But the movies as well, so to move on to the movies, I've got just a wee stat here that the movies actually have made around $3.4 billion. So no a wee amount of money by any means.
No, that's not a joke, is it?
Nah. So anyway, sorry, I just thought I'd give you a wee snapshot into what the deal is with Twilight, how big it was. And back in relation to this film, the tomatometer score for this movie was 48%. So
that is low.
It's quite low, but low enough? Question mark. Like, we'll get there. We'll get there.
The popcorn meter is a bit more generous, however, at 72%.
72%.
And the cinema score, which we started looking at, and that takes a poll of people coming out of the screen to get their opinion, gave it a B+.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so that's actually something Kat's mentioned there. I don't know if we've said actually yet. Cinema score is something we want to introduce here in newer films. Older films, cinema score didn't exist. The cinema score is basically like, it works the same way as an exit poll in an election, in that people leave the movie and then they are immediately asked, they've saw the movie, they haven't read anything about it, they might have read something about it beforehand, but they haven't let anyone else influence their decision, and they give a grade the minute they leave, and that's why it's kind of an accurate reflection as to what people think.
Yeah, I always give it a bit more credence than other.
I find it really interesting that it's a thing, and I'm so glad we're introducing it here. That was a great idea, because it gives us another sort of input as to what people thought of it. B+ though?
Yeah.
Okay. Not the score I would have given it when I left, but... Okay. It's time. I can't avoid it anymore. It's time to go into the plot of Twilight.
Yes, it is.
What was it they do again?
Yeah.
They don't even hiss. They just sort of breathe on each other.
It's so odd.
It's really weird. Anyway,
odd.
We'll get there shortly. But let's kick it off. So our film opens with a scene of a deer just like running through a forest and is getting like hunted.
Yeah, it does.
And I was rooting for the deer. I was like, come on, deer! Come on, dearie!
I really didn't like this bit. I really didn't like the kind of handheld camera Blair Witch vibes.
Yeah, I was like, this is like Evil Dead, but no, it's charming.
Yeah, really
Kind of
not.
about Evil Dead where you see the sort of deadite sort of spirit going through the woods.
Yeah.
That's what it was like, but not cool.
Yeah, I
Because
feel
like the camera's going through it in Evil Dead and there's like trees and foliage getting pushed out the way. It's really clever and probably would have taken a lot more work than this took.
Yeah, I feel like the Evil Dead stuff, like, it's got movement in a direction, while this kind of felt quite chaotic.
And just
a bit-
nauseating. And somebody comes in pure just grabs the deer. That's
Yeah.
what I remember anyway.
I also have written this down, that somebody caught a deer with their bare hands.
We then see 17-year-old Bella, or Isabella, her name's Bella, people call her Bella, Swan, who is played by Kristen Stewart, who's been in, Kristen Stewart's been in a few things. I think before this she'd been in that Zathura movie, which was like Jumanji in space.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
She was in that Snow White and the Huntsman. Was that after this? Yeah, it was after this, yeah.
I think she might have also been Into the Wild.
She was in Into the Wild too, yeah, which is a not bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
Great soundtrack. The soundtrack's probably better than the movie is, actually.
Okay.
The movie's not bad, though. She's preparing to move from her mum's home in Phoenix to live with her dad in Forks.
Yeah, what a wonderful
So
name.
I was like, Kat, the town's called Forks, and you're like, aye. I'm like, that's daft. Did you also know that the book was originally called Forks?
Yes, I did know this.
Wild. It's a small town near Washington Coast, basically. Her mother, Renee Dwyer, who's played by a lady called Sarah Clark, she's not in the movie that much,
Nah.
is remarried to a minor league baseball player. And she's going to be moving around considerably, which I guess is something I might have missed. And that might be why Bella's moving to her dad's. I had no idea why she was moving to her dad's. I thought it was because she didn't like the guy her mum was with.
No, I think she does get on with him. I think, they're just going to be moving around a lot, so they thought it would be better for her to be settled with her dad. At this point, Bella's got her monologue going, and she mentions that, like, she's going to miss the heat,
Aye.
but she's quite clearly never been outdoors ever.
No, never. She's peely wally.
She is.
She's so pale, you might want to say.
Pale, indeed.
Right, and it's like...
She's very good at keeping up the SPF, which we all should.
Totes. I mean, she comes from Arizona, like...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Somebody
very
did-
hot there.
Yeah, somebody does make a joke about that in the film.
Aye, they do, I remember this. But Bella's dad, Charlie, who's played by Billy Burke, who's been in a few things as well, actually. I reckon he's in, and I'll just come out with it now, he's the best actor in the movie.
100%. He's the best actor in the whole trilogy.
Oh, really?
By a country mile.
And by trilogy, do you mean pentology? There's friggin' 5 of these movies.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I forget. Yeah, he's the only, like, semi-realistic character and good actor.
I was actually looking this up, and I think he was in an episode or two of Gilmore Girls at one point.
He was, yes.
Which is something you'd recognise him for sure.
Well, the thing is, I was thinking about this, and I didn't really recognise him at first because he's got quite a prominent moustache as Charlie. And then I saw a picture of him without the moustache, and I recognised him straight away.
Nice. No, well, that's funny that can happen, eh? That it can
Totally.
make such a difference. He was in that horror movie Lights Out as well. I think we maybe seen that in it, but it was 2016, a wee while ago. And he was in a thriller as well. It was quite popular called Breaking In, which I haven't seen. But, you know, the guy's good, man. And he's definitely, I don't know if it's because who he's amongst in this movie, but he definitely, his acting chops definitely come across.
Yeah, he shines through, for sure.
Anyway, he drives her through Forks to get to their new house. There's bear statues, and I was like, Dunbar! That's what I thought. So we've got, one of the towns near where we live is called Dunbar, and they've got this cool ass bear statue. I love it. It's massive. It's awesome.
Yeah,
you can see it for the A1.
Yeah, I must be eyes on the road when I'm driving it.
It's really big, really big. So Charlie's the chief of police in town, and Bella is sort of used to visit for 2 weeks every summer. But it's been a wee while since she last came to see her dad and last came to Forks. Charlie gives Bella a lot of space, but their home has basically, it's only got one bathroom, isn't it?
Oh, nightmare.
Cleared some shelves off in the bathroom.
Oh, right. One bathroom.
Oh, the hardships of having one bathroom, Bella.
I know, honestly.
That's exactly how she sounds as well. Eh? Just like, oh, right, there's only one.
Yeah.
There's only one bathroom, okay.
I know, and it's kind of check your privilege. Come on.
I know, eh?
Yeah, and I
How
guess...
wouldn't they say that in that situation?
Yeah, I think the relationship...
She's also a teenager.
Well, this is what I was going to say, yeah. Is that she's a teenage girl, and so, like, getting in the bathroom and doing your hair and all that, quite important. But also, the relationship between the two of them seems quite strained and quite stilted. Like, they have a conversation in the car that kind of signifies how long they've not seen each other for, where he's like, oh, your hair's got long. And she says that she's had it cut since they've seen each other, so it's obviously she's had it cut, and then it's got long again, and then she's had it cut again, and it's still long.
Yeah.
So it would have been quite a significant passage of time between their last visits. They also mentioned that the population of Forks is only 3,120 people. So it is a small town.
Yeah, totally. I didn't really have an idea. Like, I didn't kind of big how the population is of the town we live in.
I think it's quite big. Like, I think it's about 60,000.
It's the biggest town in East Lothian, I think.
Yeah, certainly one of them.
Yeah. And do you know what I thought here too, and it's probably the most random thing ever, and it's another film we might be able to do, is that I got Save the Last Dance vibes. When she walks into their dad's house and her dad's trying to please her and he's trying to give her some space, and that's exactly what happens in that movie when she goes to Chicago to live with her dad, who's a struggling musician and doesn't have any money. And he's trying to give her the best he can, and they kind of butt heads a lot through the movie. And you know what? Like, there's a film I actually enjoy, so like, I'm not even kidding. Like, Save the Last Dance, I thought it was a good film, so I would like to talk about it at some point because I think it's rotten. But
I'll have to have a look.
That's what this situation reminded me, and that is where the similarities end between the two movies.
There is. Also, I think there's something that we've kind of failed to mention throughout the whole film so far, and that's the odd colouring.
Why is everything greeny blue?
I don't know.
Is it to make it look like literal Twilight? Because it's a stupid idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
genuinely.
do you know what? To me, right, this whole film I found the most depressing thing to watch. Like, and I like gothic horror. I watch black and white movies mostly, right? Quite a lot. You know, so that colour, it doesn't bother me, but that doesn't matter. If a film can still be black and white and, in my opinion, still be vibrant.
Oh, 100%.
This vibrant isn't a word I'd associate with the way this was shot.
Yeah, and the colour choices were very odd, and I think it's maybe to try and juxtapose some things that happen later in the film. Like, there's some parts where they're kind of around flowers and all that sort of stuff that are supposed to pop, but even then they don't really.
No, not really, not. It's like they've slapped a whole filter over this and whatever editing software they were using.
Probably did.
Aye, probably. Jacob Black, who's played by Taylor Lautner. I don't think Taylor Lautner's been in that much more. I think he was in that bloody Shark Boy movie or whatever it's called, Shark Boy Lava Girl.
Oh,
I never
was he?
saw that. Yeah, I think he was in that.
He was also in the TV series Cuckoo with Greg Davis.
Oh, no way, he was in that.
Yeah, so it was Andy Samberg in the first series, I think, and then was replaced by Taylor Lautner. Yeah, but Taylor Lautner has been in other things.
He's an old childhood friend of Bella's and a member of the Quaalude tribe. Jacob is the son of Billy Black, who's played by Gil Birmingham. And Billy Black's really fun to say.
Billy Black is quite fun to say.
I recognised Gil from a few things. I really did. I have no idea what. I mean, it's actually entirely likely that he has been wheeled out to play a Native American whenever they need one, which is kind of the situation, isn't it? Like, let's face it.
It is, sadly.
Well, he was in that Yellowstone, so...
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I haven't seen that. I heard good things about it, though.
Yeah,
a lot of people
rave
talk
about
about
it.
that. The guy's 71, though. Like,
Wow.
I mean, I know that movie was a while ago, Twilight, but he didn't look 17 anywhere near that age.
Well, when you think about it, it's nearly 20 years ago.
I guess.
Which is terrifying.
Ugh. So Charlie and Billy are really good friends. It's quite evident how pally they are. And Charlie gifts Bella a pickup truck as her homecoming present, which he bought from Billy after Jacob rebuilt the engine. Jacob doesn't go to the local high school. He goes to a school on the reservation, he says, doesn't he, here?
He does.
Do you know what I found quite cool about this? She's buzzing about the truck.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I was like, every trope that I would ever have seen ever would mean that she'd be like, oh, what's this hunk of junk? Or something like that. She doesn't do that. She actually goes, oh, that's class. And she's just really grateful. And I was like, hey, I thought Bella was a total asshole. She's actually no.
No, she's quite cool. She's quite unconventional. She's definitely got her own sense of style.
I don't know, maybe it's just the idea I had of that character. That's what I thought she was like.
Yeah.
She's actually no, she's all right.
I really liked in this scene the way that Charlie and Billy were kind of playing around.
Ah, it's class.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like, especially, you don't tend to see that sort of interaction often with characters that are in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I know that was the thing. So Billy's in a wheelchair and Charlie treats him like he would anybody else.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And that's the way it should be.
Having been in a wheelchair for a considerable bit of time, it's like sometimes people treat you differently, or me and Kat would go out and people would speak to you immediately instead of me. Did you remember that? Because you used to be like, oh, somebody else has done it. Like,
yeah, it used to really get on my nerves.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, well, he's in a wheelchair, therefore he's not capable of holding a conversation with me or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, it's nice to see that they're actually just like, there's not even really, I don't even know if it's mentioned that much that he's in the chair.
No, not at all.
Doesn't he need to be, Kevin? That's the way it should be.
Exactly. But I love the sort of friendship they have between the two of them. Bella attends her first day at Forks High School, joining in the middle of the semester, so not the best time to start, unfortunately. Bella's not really one for any type of attention on herself, but she manages to make some friends on her first day. Her friends at Forks High School include Angela Weber, who is played by Christian Serratos, Mike Newton, who is Michael Welsh, Jessica Stanley, who is Anna Kendrick.
Who doesn't remember being in these movies, by the way.
Which is hilarious that she just point blank doesn't remember.
Or she's doing it for banter, and either way, if she is, that's still hilarious.
Very funny. Tyler Crowley, who's played by Gregory Tyree Boyce, and Eric Yorkie, who's played by Justin Chon.
Eric, the wee Doug. Yorkie. Wuff, wuff, wuff. Do you know what, right? So I'm not going to go through all these actors and everything they've been in, because this movie threw actors at me like there was named tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that I'll talk about Anna Kendrick. Mm-hmm. Anna Kendrick is the most famous one here.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Just to say. And she is Princess Poppy. So that's what I know her from.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what I know Anna Kendrick from. Is that bad? I don't know.
No, I think that's a perfectly reasonable
Princess Poppy is one of the main characters from the Trolls movie series.
Yeah, she was also in Pitch Perfect.
I haven't seen those, but I think I'd really enjoy those. Maybe we should wheel those out.
Yeah, I've seen the first one and it was very good.
Aye.
I enjoyed it, yeah.
Nice. Aye, well, let's do that. It's, what's her name? The Australian lass in those.
Yeah, Rebel Wilson.
She's funny, man. I like her.
She was very funny.
So I will be game for watching these movies.
So when Bella first pulls up, she gets the parking space right at the front door.
Yeah.
And I was like, that would never happen. The car park is already quite full, so unless there's like some massive pothole in it or something, that's not happening.
It's a bit oddie.
Yeah, I was like, that's quite lazy. And Eric has obviously been tasked with showing around the school. And Eric's hair is also very 2008. I remember all the boys in my year at school having that kind of helmet
was
hair.
Was it like the Goblet of Fire hair, do you mean?
Yes, it was very much the Goblet of Fire.
So if you're not
hair.
familiar, right, I'll try and find the meme and I'll post it on our socials. In fact, I'll make a note of it now. But the Harry Potter meme, where it's like Harry Potter, like Daniel Radcliffe's hair in a Goblet of Fire, and it's blown up to look ridiculous, but that's how big it looks. It's so. But what was that? Why was that a thing?
The volume just gets higher.
Everybody wanted to look like Paul McCartney in the 60s.
It was very odd. I don't know if it was like an Arctic Monkeys thing or what.
It was just a fad.
Yeah.
Just like me having a fade right now. Like,
I like your fade.
I think it's probably everlasting. I do want to get one of those shullets, which is like the shaggy mullet.
No.
But Kat will not let me get one.
So Eric is tasked with showing Bella around. Just going to swiftly move on. And she's got a bit of paper. He's got a bit of paper and he like holds it really close to her face. Eric seems very keen bean. And he also has some associations with the school paper.
Why does he hold a paper? Oh, is it like a newspaper, you mean?
I don't know. It's just a sheet of paper. It doesn't seem to impact the plot.
So when Bella actually meets our pals, our new friends, Jessica, etc., there's this whole bit where they're playing volleyball and then she kind of spikes the ball and it hits some guy in the head and it made me laugh.
Yeah, I like that as well.
And the whole scene is awkward is the only word I could. It was so awkward to watch their interaction. I'm not sure if it was supposed to look like that, but I was like, this is horrendous. It might just be the way it's acted. It might be the dialogue. It might just be that they wanted it to seem a little bit awkward because they're teens, but it's so awkward.
I think the whole thing is awkward.
Aye.
And I think part of it is intentional, but I think also, I wonder if there was also a little bit of disdain at the quality of some of the content that you kind of is palpable from the people.
You're an actor and you're having to deliver that nonsense, this crap, basically. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But it's the job you're being paid to do, so you do it to the best of your ability. That's all I've got to say on the matter.
Well, it's true as any job you've got. That's the deal.
So Bella has lunch with some of her new friends, and this is actually where she's introduced to Angela, who comes over and takes her photo.
Yeah, it's quite intense, eh?
Smile. Oh, God. Sorry, I need a candid for the feature.
The feature's dead, Angela. Don't bring it up again. Right? This whole bit, I had no idea what was going on. I was like, why is this boy child mad? And then like, why is this woman taking pictures, this girl taking pictures of Bella's face? And then why is Bella like, okay? Like
my impression didn't help.
It's true, but that, like, I think the point you were trying to get across there is she does come across as very vacant throughout.
She does. She's like she's never quite in the room with you.
No.
Bella. Always got her head in the clouds. So I think Eric is being very forceful about the fact that the feature's dead because, Bella doesn't want any of that sort of attention. So he's obviously trying to keep in her good graces.
Yeah, and it's like about this point, for some reason, some boy comes over and kisses her on the cheek and runs away or something.
Yeah, I didn't like that very much.
Who is this kid? Why is this happening? If this happened in school now, you'd be expelled.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not kidding.
No,
there's a zero tolerance policy for that kind of thing. Even if you're kidding, in school now, that wouldn't happen.
Oh, I don't think, also, I'm not pretty sure it wouldn't have happened in school when we were there.
Possibly not.
Yeah, I think it was totally inappropriate. But anyway, yeah.
It's just something that jumped out is I was like, ew.
Yeah, it's a bit icky now.
I don't like to use the term icky because I feel like a child, but it actually really describes it quite well.
While she's having lunch with these new friends, as we say, Bella gets more information on some of the more unusual students that she sees.
Well, it's like all these kids are walking past, right? Loads of kids are walking past. But for some reason, there's these peely-wally-faced weirdos, and she's like, who are they? Hey.
Yeah, they capture her imagination.
Immediately, it's just like, oh, who are they? Like, that's what it comes across like, eh? And I'm like, all right.
Fair, they do walk in slow motion, so...
They walk in slow motion, you would notice that.
You would definitely notice that, for sure.
But they can also move super fast. There's the irony.
Yeah, maybe that's because they're having to deliberately slow down. They go too slow.
Maybe.
Anyway, it transpires that these are the Cullen siblings. And these are Edward, Robert Pattinson.
Woo!
Our Pats. Alice, who's played by Ashley Greene. Jasper, who is Jackson Rathbone, Rosalie, who is Nikki Reed, and Emmett, who is Kellen Lutz.
Rosalie! Rosalie! I'll tell you what, I don't really know any of these people from anything.
I've seen
Sorry to just throw you absolutely nothing at you there. I didn't look into everyone in this movie because I'll be honest, any of the stuff I looked into was I was more interested about the whole Twilight fad thing. Yeah. And I wanted to look into that. So I didn't really look into the actors who played these parts, really. And I didn't recognise them for anything.
Nikki Reed was actually in the OC.
Ah, right, okay, so there might be a chance that all these people have been in stuff I haven't seen.
So Jessica describes them as keeping themselves to themselves and never interacting much with other students. She says that Cullens are foster kids of Dr. Cullen, and they moved down from Alaska a few years ago.
Cool.
Yeah, not suspicious at all.
Nah. These Cullens move around quite a lot, we find out later on.
They do.
There's actually a really cool way of them displaying that later, but we'll talk about it later.
So off we head to class, and we see Bella heading into a biology class.
And she goes, what's that smell? It smells like Cullen skink in here. It smells like smoky, sweaty, gross fish.
Yuck. No more Cullen skink, please.
It's because Edward's in there.
Yeah, well, ironically, Bella is given a seat next to Edward,
Obviously.
And as she walks past, the fan blows her hair, which seems to happen a lot to Bella. But anyway, and
I want that whenever I walk into a room. I'm just going to employ some wee guy that just walks around on those little hand fans and just like points it in my face so I look all majestic.
It'll make your shullet look great.
Well, when I get it, it's going to look amazing, like flap in the wind, flop, like that.
Yuck. So yes, Bella's hair is wafted in the wind, and
I'm just going to say, the shullet really suits some people. I think Kat is concerned that it won't suit me. That's the concern.
Definitely, yeah. Some people can really pull off the shullet. I just don't think you can.
Well, you know, we'll know until we try. I did used to have a mullet, so...
I'm not going in it. So, Bella's going past the fan, it wafts her hair, and the waft goes straight into Edward's face, and he is utterly repulsed by her smell.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's that he's repulsed or that he's like, right, so... He smells her, right? Yeah. And then he gets all weird and he starts getting like... So Edward is a weirdo, right? There's no... Right, I've got in my notes quite a lot. Why is he making that face? What is going on with his facial movements? Why is he so erratic? Why is his mood swings so bad? He's the worst character ever, right?
He's very inconsistent.
It's ridiculous, right? And I know that that's maybe what they're trying to get across, that he doesn't know how to interact with people and that. But this guy's been around forever.
He's very old.
He drops that he's been 17 for a very long time.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're like, so you should know how to interact with people by now. Right? I always say that if I had my head now and I went back to school, I feel like it would have been a different experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Completely different. Because your brain works in a different way.
Yeah.
You wouldn't let people, you know how to interact with people much better.
You do.
When you're a kid, you panic when something goes wrong. It's just the way your brain works. This guy's been around forever, you know?
Yeah, he really
So
should
it's really
know.
an excuse for him to behave that way. I don't think.
So yeah, when the waft comes in his face, he covers his mouth with his hand to cover up his nose as well.
Yeah, I just had my notes here, big B.O. Bella.
Yeah, she does think she's got a bad body odour, so she's giving herself like a cheeky wee sniff.
And I actually had in my notes, would you not be reporting him at this point?
Yeah, like
Because he's acting so oddly around her, like he's trying to restrain himself, which is probably what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Right? As we find out later on. But he's working so hard to try to restrain himself that he just looks like some sort of mad pervert.
Yeah, he does look really odd. Like how a teacher's not clocked that and been like, you know what, you can just sit in a
You can move
3.
and go and sit on your own, you pervert. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Edward spends the rest of the class with his nose covered, and after the class, Bella heads towards the office of the school and finds Edward in there trying to change his class from biology to anything else. And he is told that all the classes are full and he resigns himself to endure it.
Yeah, so that's what he says. He says, I'll endure it, right?
I'm afraid you'll have to stay in biology.
Fine. Just have to endure it.
Yeah, and I think it's an unusual delivery, but I actually quite enjoyed it, where it's almost like he's holding his breath when he's walking past her.
Because everybody stinks to him, apparently.
Yeah, well, particularly Bella.
He's just trying to keep his intensive perversion inside.
Yeah. Ugh. Bella then has dinner with her dad in the local diner and meets many people who remember her from when she was a child. This includes Waylon Forge, who once played Santa at Christmas.
Which you're like, Ken, it's like when you're a teen, this is like the worst and most annoying thing ever. Yeah. Oh, I remember you from when you were wee. Oh, piss off, eh? That's what you want to say when you're a teenager.
So yeah, it kind of almost had a kind of parallel to Wizard of Oz there for me. Like, you know, the scene where it's like when Dorothy wakes up from having been unconscious and it's like, oh, do you remember me?
And you were there.
Yeah.
And you were there.
It kind of felt like that. You know, like, oh, and did you remember me? And like, oh, I missed you most of all. And all that
I was going to say, do you know what always gets me about that scene is where she goes, I'll miss you most of all to the Scarecrow. And you're like, oh, well, that's not very nice to the other guys, is it?
That's also true, yeah.
You're like, I'll miss you most of all. The Tin Man and the Lion are just like, oh, well, so do you then.
Yeah. I know, like, wish I hadn't helped you out.
Okay.
So, as I said, Waylon has played Santa.
Buttcrack Santa!
Yeah, and they called him Buttcrack Santa, which I didn't appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, Buttcrack must have been hanging out when he was playing Santa.
Oh.
Probably after a few too many tinnies or something.
Yeah.
That's the way I visualise it.
Yeah, I hope they found another Santa.
Like, if you look at, so anybody around our age, if you find pictures of kids at Christmas parties around the time me and Kat were kids, the Santas are terrifying. They're always just like some ramshackled Santa sort of costume. And it's like, that's hideous. How did I ever think that was Santa?
I know. I remember the person who was Santa at our primary school was our lollipop man.
Nice.
And it was so funny.
You mean your lollipop man's one of Santa's helpers? That's class.
Yes, that's right. So it was incredible the fact that I knew one.
Aye.
But he was also very tanned all the time.
Oh, tan Santa.
Very tan Santa.
Sexy tan Santa.
Yeah.
There is a song called Sexy Santa. Steel
There
Panther.
is.
Banger.
Yeah.
So Bella planned to confront Ed at school. Sorry, I'm just going to call him Ed, right?
No.
What?
His name's Edward.
Ed, Big Ed.
No.
Big Ed. You're my best view.
Oh, God.
I've actually got it right here. Hold on. This cushion, right? That someone bought. I think it was you.
It was me.
You got me this when I was in hospital.
I did.
And it's got Big Ed from 90 Day Fiancé, a sort of cartoon caricature of him, and it's got, you're my best view on it.
Oh, he's such a creep.
He is such a creep, but it's hilarious banter. Okay, I won't call him Ed, I'll call him Edward then.
That's
fine.
his name.
I'm getting a row. So, anyway, Bella planned to confront Edward about the way he treated her in biology, but he never showed at school for the next few days. He doesn't come and doesn't turn up.
So I was trying to imagine how that conversation would go. But like, excuse me, do you think
Why
I
did
smell?
you look like you were trying to stop yourself with shitting your pants? Right? Yeah. This is now an explicit episode. I'm sorry. But it's true that he looks like he's about to cack himself and he's trying to stop it. You come in, you're really going to shit your pants, right?
I do.
And it's like, and he's stopping himself with it. That's what it's like.
Yeah. It is an intense look, and also, like, as I say, I just don't know why I wouldn't just go to the teacher and be like, can I swap seats with anybody
she
else?
Stinks.
Yeah. No, why would she not say, like, this guy clearly has got like ants in his pants?
This guy is a total creepy, intense pervert, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a man is chased and hunted at an empty factory by a group of humans.
Ooh.
I know. Charlie is called to Mason County to investigate the death of a security guard at Grisham Mills by some kind of quote-unquote animal.
Yeah, this gave me very naughty's gritty drama feel, but it just, like, in the modern light, it looks quite cheap. It kind of was like an episode of Angel. I'm just going to state, this whole film looks cheap. Yeah, it does.
It's made on a shoestring budget, it feels.
I feel like they could have
And it was.
prioritised a bit.
It's 37.5 million or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of money.
Not a lot.
But I mean, well done to them because they made a fortune on this. And well done to Stephanie Meyer because I know I'm sitting here taking the mick, but that woman's rolling in it.
Oh, goodness, yeah. I wish I'd had that dream.
I know, it's not my fault that I'm sitting here with morals. I couldn't write something so terrible. So.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
I'm actually, I was looking into this earlier and I'm like, do I need to pick up that first book and just read it? Because at least I'll have done it and tried it, and I can see maybe if there was a reason people like these books, and maybe that's why people like the movies too. So I was going to talk about this later, but I'm genuinely considering it.
When I was watch this film first, I did exactly that and picked up the book for 50p. We have it in this house.
Okay. Well, I might read it. Might read it. It might change that. I don't know.
I got through the first chapter and stopped.
At this point, too, it struck me how much I didn't like the music in this movie. Now, I understand that the score is actually apparently one of the things people appreciate about this film.
Okay.
It is an original score, so there is a motif, and I appreciate that part. It's not that I'm talking about. It's this incidental music at this sort of scene. I wrote it down here for a reason. It must have been this section where I went, oh, I'm not liking that.
Yeah.
But the score itself, I think, has become iconic to people who like the series.
Definitely, yeah. And I think...
The thing is, I can't hum the tune to you right now.
No, so I couldn't do it either.
Right, so... it didn't make an impact on us.
Yeah, you know what? I'm big into my movie soundtracks.
Ask me the theme tune for Hook because it plays in my head in a loop all the time, right?
Yeah.
I was listening to it yesterday actually, because I was listening to Oh My Glob, and Matt and Amy from that podcast went to see our John Williams concert in Texas, and I'm like, we've done that here.
We have done that
so
here.
I sent him an email and just was like, we've done the John Williams thing here.
Yeah.
We've also done the video games RSNO concerts, and we're going to Finland in November to see the Moomin concert at
Can't
the
wait.
Musicatalo, which is the big music concert venue there in Helsinki. So that'll be amazing. So I love these kind of things. So I do pick up on music, but I can't tell you the name of what this sounded like.
No.
John Williams though, eh? Whoa.
Oh,
what a guy.
He's the best.
I found the chase scene a bit rando and jarring and a bit odd.
It felt like a total... It
came out of nowhere. I understand to put a snippet in so you know there's this other plot line going on. But there's ways to do that.
I actually don't think they needed it at all. The chase scene in
That's
particular...
a good point. That's a really good point.
They had Charlie there as the device to tell the story.
Yep.
You didn't need it. It also felt like footage from another film that was chopped in. Like the styling was so different. And yeah, I just don't think you needed it.
Nah. I also noticed that it had Spartans or something.
Yeah.
What was that? Is that...
So I think that's their football team.
Yeah, so I was like, there's a team called the Spartan Forks. Because, I mean, that's...
I think it'd be the Forks Spartans.
It's worse.
Yeah, it is. Well, they could have gone for it needs to begin with an F. Like the Forks Foxes.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Or just the Forks, and their logo is their mascot is a fork.
Or the Fighting Forks, and then you can still be a Spartan.
Or you can go down the Forks route, it being like a devil's fork, and have your logo like a little devil, like Man United or something.
Oh yeah. Okay, fair enough.
I should have been writing this book, man. I'm telling you.
Oh, they could have done lightning because that comes in forks.
Oh, that's a cool idea. It's the onset of winter, and it's starting to rain, which converts to ice on the cold ground. That's how ice works, yes. Bella slips on the ice while heading out for school.
She's very clumsy.
I don't remember this at all.
Do you not remember this? No. She says, ice doesn't help the uncoordinated.
Fair.
Yeah. And it's this point, so I think Charlie is there at the same time, and that's when he tells her about the local animal attacks.
All right, so he tells her about it. I'm away to investigate because I'm a big important chief, man. Edward shows up in class and introduces himself very nicely to Bella. So he's obviously had to go away to get rid of his diarrhea or whatever it is that's been bothering him, and he's come back and he's trying to be nice and polite now.
Yes. Edward's clearly had his mebeverine and he's feeling much better.
That's what it's like, eh? We found this bit very funny. Basically, biology class, they pair up and they're asked to order slides by the phase of mitosis. And the fastest pair will win the coveted golden onion. Onion. That was impressive, thanks. Edward says that he was out of town for a few days for personal reasons. I was out of town for a few days. Edward chuckles when he asks, because his behaviour is so erratic. 1 minute he's all brooding, the next minute he's chuckling, and he asks Bella if she likes the rain, and Bella's like, no really, because it's cold and wet, and I don't like stuff that's cold and wet. And Edward's like, you know what, right? Forks is the wettest place in the continental US, so you're in the right place. And Bella notices Edward's eyes, which are golden brown. And the last time she checked, they were black.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to figure you out. You're very difficult for me to read.
Hey, did you get contacts?
No.
Your eyes were black the last time I saw you. And, they're golden brown.
Yeah, I know. It's the fluorescence. Nice excuse there, Edward.
Good clever.
Because, I mean, I have no idea what's going on here. So, why are his eyes changing colour? Why are they so pale?
Contacts.
Yeah.
Fluorescence.
Also, do you know what, right? I'm just kidding, but do you know what? Sliding in the idea that this is the rainiest place in the continental US suggests that it's always cloudy, suggests it's not very sunny, suggests it's perfect for vamps.
Boom.
Just like Alaska.
There you go.
There you go. I never had this realisation until just now.
It's almost
I
like
just
they
made
thought
that
it through.
look, gave you that look there where I've had an epiphany, and you were like, oh, he's cracked it.
I just thought the power brew was kicking in.
It kind of is, and also you're just endlessly supportive of me when I say these kind of things, which I appreciate. Do you know what? Right, cracks me up here, and this is what we were laughing about. The interaction is not normal, right?
Of course it's not.
No, and so when he sits down, when Bella sits down, he's like, "Oh, hello," like everything's fine, right? And he's like, "Hello, I'm Edward. You're Bella." Right? And it's like, and then he basically goes in to tell her where she's like, "You're Bella and you're from Arizona." And it's like, right, this isn't how a conversation works, Edward. Right? You're supposed to introduce yourself and then let the other person introduce themselves, not introduce yourself and then introduce them.
Yeah. Or you ask polite questions like, "I'm really sorry I didn't catch your name. What is it?"
Or, "Oh, I heard you're from Arizona from some of the other school children. And what's Arizona like? Is it sunny? It's rainy here, eh?"
Exactly.
I think that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to make small talk and he's terrible at it.
Oh, yeah, it's awful. Also, I noticed at this point that Bella can't seem to breathe properly when she's talking. And she gives off a very anxious energy.
Well, no, you're not wrong. She does give off that energy quite a lot. But also sometimes she's very aloof. And so she sits in the middle sometimes as well.
Yeah.
And through this whole scene, all I can think of is like, he's such a creep.
He is.
This guy's supposed to be brooding. He's supposed to be a total heartthrob. And I bet a lot of women out there thought that. Girls out there thought that.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? And then the other thing is that the acting here is so shit, right? That it feels like they've pulled two randoms off the street and have got them at gunpoint. That's what it sounds like. And I don't know, again, maybe they're rolling into the awkwardness of teens having conversations. I had conversations with girls when I was a teenager and I was very awkward. But I wasn't, it wouldn't have played out like that.
Yeah.
At least I didn't remember it playing out like that.
I know, and that's a weird one, isn't it? Like, the dialogue isn't great.
No.
Like, I do enjoy, though, there's one bit that I did enjoy and I did note it down.
Mm-hmm.
It's when he's asking her about Arizona and she's like, "Oh, it's complicated." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sure I can keep up." And I did quite like that.
It's clear that he likes her. But actually, I say it's clear that he likes her. I think he likes her because I can't tell what he's thinking because his facial expression changes like the Scottish weather. It's
It does.
ridiculous. It's literally every 5 seconds. His face is either grinning, the next minute he's sort of grimacing, the next minute he looks really pissed off, and the next second he's happy again, and the next minute he's chuckling. It's really uncomfortable. That's what I found all these scenes to be super uncomfortable. And I'm so excited to watch the rest of this series if that's where he's going to be for the rest of them. So
You shan't be disappointed.
great. While leaving school, Bella's nearly struck by a van in the school parking lot. Edward inexplicably, that's what it says here, moves from several feet away and stops the vehicle with his hand without any harm coming to himself or Bella. He's just like, nah! And then there's like the van hits his hand and then it's like the van gets dented, but Edward's all right and Bella's all right and everybody's all right apart from the guy's van.
Yeah, basically.
And do you know what struck me here? How did he lose control? How, right? He's driving down the road. I'm only learning to drive now, right? And I could see this. He's driving down the road. Somebody pulls out a car parking space and he completely overreacts and just tries to kill Bella. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, to be fair, I wouldn't put it past him. But yeah, I agree with you.
Like, I know she's the new girl at school, but there's no need to murder her with your van.
Yeah, could have hit a patch of black ice if I'm really pushing
Well, we
it.
did just talk about ice, but I think it's to do with the person pulling out.
Yeah.
And then he goes, oh, and he actually says, I'm sorry, I just overreacted or whatever. And you're like, you did, mate.
Yeah.
And you nearly killed that young woman.
And this is why insurance for teenager is very high.
That's it, because they're just going around in vans killing young women and then vampires have to save them and that's a whole thing.
That's it. Now, this part of the story gives me reminds me of a TV series I used to really enjoy called Roswell, because that's the whole premise, is that like the alien saves this woman's life and then they fall in love with each other and all that sort of
Is
stuff.
that what that's about?
Yeah.
Do you know the other thing I found here is they're just so breathy.
Yeah.
They're all like, it's just too much. I found it really irritating. And just like, guys, like I know these are teenagers, but you're only that like turned on by the world and everything around you. Because that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And I know it's because they're trying to sex it up so it's sexy. But I just find it weird.
It is odd. And also, like, I always felt this at school as well, in that I was a bit weird, which, fine, I'll own. But I always just wanted to leave and get home as fast as possible. Like,
Totally.
why was she just sort of hanging about?
I don't know.
It's annoying.
I always wanted to get the hell home.
I've got better things to do than me hanging about in a car park, fiddling about with my iPod when I'm going to be getting in my car and listening to the radio.
So Bella's then taken to the hospital for some reason, even though she's completely unscathed.
Yeah.
She's taken to the hospital and the doctor is another Cullen skinker.
He is he is the top Cullen skinker.
Yeah, it's Dr. Carlisle Cullen.
Ooh.
Who is Edward's sort of adopted dad or dad? I don't really know if we know. Foster dad, is that what they're saying?
Term.
All right, I can't. That's right, because they're saying that they're fostered kids, aren't they, at this point?
That's right. Which I think they had to do for the purposes of the fact that they've all kind of coupled up.
Aye, because then it's just creepy. And one of them makes a comment. I think it's Anna Kendrick earlier on. She's like, or whatever her character's name is.
Jessica.
I'm so sorry. I should have tried harder with this movie. I didn't remember all of these things.
It was hard. Like, I only know it because I've...
There's too many characters. There was too many thrown at you. Mm-hmm. There was a thing in the notes there about one of the characters' names. I had no idea who it was. But she says earlier on, she says like, oh, it's really weird that they're like brother and sister and that. And she's like, but they're not actually related. Somebody like corrects her.
Yeah, they're not blood relatives.
And I think that's why they do that. But Bella recounts how Edward was able to move really fast as he was nowhere near her. And Bella sees Edward talking to Dr. Cullen and Rosalie, who's one of the Cullen sisters, and he's defending his actions, and he's saying that he could not let Bella die. So he's like, well, what was I supposed to do? And it's the same thing we see in Smallville, quite frankly, when Clark saves the school bus and then Lex Luthor's obsessed with it for too long, to be fair. And in the series, but that's the whole thing's based on him not thinking that he has to do the right thing, and his dad being like, well, sometimes you didn't do the right thing, because then it's a really complicated thing. I always appreciated that about that whole first sort of couple of seasons of Smallville.
Really enjoyed those first series.
Seen it all, but I did get a bit obsessed with it for a bit. But it was I didn't watch it all because it was a bit too teen drama for me, so I kind of interest waned when I realised this was less about Superman and more about a teen drama that I'm not interested in. So I'm like,
yeah, I enjoyed the first kind of 3 series with that kind of Monster of the Week style.
Always a great thing.
Yeah, I love those.
Supernatural, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you know.
Yeah, and then I've made it to like the end of series 5 and it is not great.
Nah, I couldn't stick it. But the first wee bit I kind of was into. Especially because like anything that was like Superman adjacent, but a lot of it was just felt like teen drama a lot of the time. But.
Yeah.
Do you know that's the interesting thing too? Teen dramas these days, totally different. Like Sex Education is one of the best TV series ever to come out of this country. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I saw you watch Never Have I Ever, and I talked to nieces about this too, and they had watched Never Have I Ever, and I was talking to them. I haven't seen all of it, but the quality and the real life reflection in teen dramas made now is phenomenal.
Oh, it is leaps ahead of where we were.
We didn't have that.
No.
We had this cheesy, overdone OC, and what's the other one, Kat? The other
One Tree Hill.
One Tree Hill, and all these shows, which, you know, I feel like teen dramas now are much more based in reality, especially shows like Sex Education, which I think are hugely important for kids.
Yeah.
To realise that it's okay to be who they are, and that's like one of the biggest messages in that show.
I would agree.
And Never Have I Ever as well. Everything's presented in such a better way than it was then. But Rosalie is obviously concerned because she's like 15 kids saw what Edward did. And Edward later refuses to explain this act to Bella, and he warns her against befriending him.
What a reaction.
I know, eh?
You pushed it away with your hand.
Well, nobody's going to believe you, so...
I wasn't going to tell anybody. I just need to know the truth.
Can't you just thank me and get over it? He's such an a-hole.
Honestly.
Like, well, nobody's going to believe you anyway. And like, well, can you just get over it? Like, pfft.
Oh my God, I just saved your life, man. This is fine.
And so another thing here I felt is that Edward's sort of gaslighting her, it feels like.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't really have a choice, but it's the way it goes about it is awful, because he's kind of being so aloof and sort of like, oh, well, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, this isn't really the best way to deal with this.
No, it's not. And it's another sort of bad example of his weird mood swings where his just personality is so inconsistent. And I don't know if I'm trying to think of it in a positive light, I don't know if that's just really clever writing in the sort of inner turmoil of him trying to keep her safe and keep her out of his secret and keep his secret safe.
I think you're right, and I think maybe that's part of what they were trying to do, but it's not done well and it's not executed properly. And it's like his mood swings and his facial expressions and that are so erratic that you've no idea who this guy is.
No, yeah, you can't.
And I don't
predict
think
his
after
movie.
watching this entire film I know anything about him. You know a bit of his background a little bit, but generally he's such a... It's messy. You know, we didn't really get a glimpse into who he is because he's erratically changing every 5 seconds. His mood, his attitude, always different, always changing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing, apart from the fact that it impairs the depth significantly, probably is the way I'd put it.
I think that's a fair statement.
So Bella wakes up in the middle of the night later on, right, and she sees a vision of Big Ed's standing next to her bed, right?
Ooh.
And he's like, "You're my best view." No, she sees Edward in the room, right? And he's gone as soon as she switches the lights on. And I'm like, he was in the room, what a creep.
Yeah, it does give me very Angel and Buffy vibes.
This is a vampire thing. So vampires do that in all the literature, in all the movies. The vampires like to linger around that person that they're obsessed with. And there's not really a difference here, apart from the fact that Edward doesn't really seem like he's out to hurt her, or his family. So that is the interesting part here. But it's still, I don't think it's a vision. I think he was in the room, and it's creepy and weird.
I do agree, and also it kind of goes against the old trope of like, you have to be invited in.
Exactly, it just storms in. So there is no. That's the thing. And people didn't like this film because it messed with the vampire lore. But that's fine.
There's a lot of that in this saga.
What I mean? But it's like, who's to say you've got to stick to the rules or whatever?
Well, this is it exactly. You don't like it, you don't have to watch it or listen to it or read it.
Yeah, I don't think that's something that this film should be penalised for. Is that it doesn't stick to vampire lore? Who cares? This woman's writing a story about vampires. She can write it any way she wants. Like, totally. That's not important to me. Like, the vampires aren't supposed to do that. Well, you know what? These vampires do, right?
Yeah, and also...
Simple as that.
Yeah, you can interpret them as you see fit.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd be sitting here sticking up for Stephanie Meyer, but hey, it's a funny old world, eh?
Yeah, who knows where life will take you. So Eric and Mike both ask Bella out to prom in the car park of the school.
Awkward.
Yeah, very awkward. What really annoyed me about Eric and Mike both being such keen beans on Bella is that she clearly doesn't care. No. She 100% is not paying attention. So she's too distracted to even respond to their prom invites. But she does go on to play matchmaker though, where she tells Mike that she's really bad at dancing and she has something on that weekend already in Jacksonville when she's going to see her mum. But she mentions that Mike should go with Jessica, who is clearly quite sweet on Mike.
Aye, I'm trying to put faces to these names. Jessica's Anna Kendrick, and the guy... Yeah. I remember the guy that asked her to the dance. Aye, that's right. Yeah. But like the other thing I thought I jotted in here is that people really like Bella. She's quite popular. She's the new girl in school, and something I appreciate here is this does not fall into the trope of, ooh, the new girl, let's throw juice boxes at her head. Yeah. I'm obsessed with throwing juice boxes at people's heads. It's like, or whatever. Like there's that trope in American movies, TV shows, and in this country. Oh, the new kid gets it. Yeah. Doesn't happen here. No, I appreciated that.
She integrates quite nicely, actually. Despite being quite head in the clouds.
That's right.
We'll put it. But Edward's kind of creeping about in the background, of course.
Because he's the biggest creep in the world.
And he then goes on to ask Bella about Jacksonville, which means he heard her talk, even though he was nowhere to be seen. So the biology class all go on this amazing field trip to a greenhouse. Yeah,
it's basically a herbology lesson. Cedric Diggory's there.
Mm-hmm. That's the best. Yeah. And the Venn diagrams I had in my head, it wasn't one of them, but I liked it.
Yeah, just to say, Robert Pattinson. We don't really talked about Robert Pattinson.
No, we kind of glossed over
Robert Pattinson plays Edward, and he's a big star. And he is Batman in the latest Batman movie, and is great in that movie.
Pattinson is brilliant.
Pattinson rocks. He was Cedric Diggory in Harry Potter for that one movie.
My boy!
My boy! And the band are all like... Burr, 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 and
so good.
Oh dear. Shouldn't it be a moment that we giggle about, really, is it? It's supposed to be sad.
No, it is very sad.
Yeah. Anyway, they're at herbology.
They are at herbology, and they're cutting through the greenhouse. And...
They're cutting about in the greenhouse.
And Edward is again kind of hovering in Bella's peripheries.
Aye.
And just kind of being a bit of a nuisance and just says, nah, we shouldn't be pals anymore.
It's so weird, man.
Like, if I was going to get to go on a school trip, it's the one I'd want to go on, for sure. It reminded me of Butterfly World.
I always fancied Butterfly World, but you know what, right? Your mum and dad just did something similar when they were in, I think it was Vienna. I always worry that I'd like accidentally swat them if they came near me.
I know.
Like, oh, your attitude, your instinct is to slap.
Yeah.
If a mosquito lands on you, you squash it.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever. Like, and so that would be my reaction. I'd end up killing this pure, like, prized butterfly, this pure Romanian ridgeback butterfly or whatever. I don't know, just makes that up, right? Or that's Harry Potter, eh? Again. I've always got Harry Potter on the brain because of Cedric Diggory's in this movie.
Yeah, clearly.
But, you know what I mean? Like, I'd always worry that I'd end up swatting a insect by mistake, so I didn't. But I'd love to do one. I'd love to hold a tarantula. That'd be cool.
We'll see if we can find something nearby.
Aye. Are you all right there? The dog is just demanding all the attention for you right now, and he's not really aware that you're trying to do something.
He is, but
he's sitting on you looking all proud because he's getting chest rubs. He's like, yes, I'm getting what I want.
He's very cute. He's so warm as well.
Okay, you're going to get all sleepy. Get that energy juice in you.
Yeah. So after saying that they shouldn't be friends anymore, Bella retorts that he should have learned just the van crusher. rather than regret saving her. And she's so angry at this point.
She is actually, I have a note here, it's like, why is she so irate?
Yeah, she's so... I don't know. I've also made notes like, why
but this
she's
is the
so
thing,
angry.
we're talking about Big Ed being like erratic.
Yeah.
She's the same.
Yeah.
There's a bit later on, we'll talk about it probably, when her seatbelt, he's trying to get the seatbelt on her and she's like, I've got it! And it's like, and you're like, right, calm down, man.
Yeah, the two of them just need something to help stabilise them
Everybody
out.
needs to relax.
Edward says that Bella doesn't know anything at all. At which point they're interrupted by Alice and Jasper, and they're heading back to the bus from the school trip, and Edward batters on the bus
He does,
to get in. I was like, don't you
I have
batter
to
on
get on a
that
different
bus?
bus.
Yeah.
There's bars on the bus.
This bus is full. I was like, oh, get Ben, I do want to sit next to you anyway. Bella accepts an invitation from Eric and friends to come with them to La Pouche.
Eric and friends. Sorry. I'm sorry, so sorry.
It was very good. It was very good. I liked it a lot. Banger, by the way. So she's invited to come along to La Pouche Beach for surfing, which sounds excellent for somebody who's got no coordination skills. Edward again approaches Bella at lunch and says that if she was smart, she would stay away from him, but he's hovering about her.
Yeah,
so.
he keeps coming up to her and being like, you should stay away from me. And it's like, Edward, you know what, right? See if you just left. Problem solved.
Yeah, just leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Edward says that he does want to be her friend, but knows that it's best if they are not. Bella does make comment about his mood swings.
You know, your mood swings are kind of giving me whiplash.
Fair statement, Bella.
Absolutely. It's totally understandable. And I think she could do with being a bit more forthright in setting some boundaries.
There's also a bit here with an apple.
Yeah.
So is that why there's an apple on the cover?
I think,
the original book.
Yeah, that's why they do it, is to kind of emulate the
A
original
throwback
cover.
to the cover.
Yeah, but they kind of awkwardly fit it in.
It's awful. Right, he drops the apple and then he kicks it up with his foot like some sort of hacky sack trick, because this school, they love a hacky sack.
They do love a hacky sack.
Even if they didn't have one, which
Yeah.
we'll talk about in a sec. He kicks it like a hacky sack, but it's also edited and it looks really awkward, like they've reversed it or something.
Yeah.
Which I think they might have. I don't know.
It's probably easier to do in reverse.
But it's really awkward.
Very awkward.
And I was like, because I rewound it and I was like, what happened?
Also, again, the colouring is really weird, where
Yeah.
like I think the apple hasn't got the filter on it.
No, can he stress enough how odd the colour choices are here, and the filter and everything is odd.
Bella theorises that Edward is a superhero, but he says that he's not and that he's actually the bad guy.
And there's also some intense frowning going on here. I've got it in capitals here. He's just kind of like, he's screwing his face up, and it's like, I honestly didn't understand why Bella doesn't turn around at some point and go, are you okay?
Yeah, maybe he needs glasses. Bella says that the bad guy act is only a mask to keep people away from him, and actually she then goes on to invite him to the beach. Jacob meets Bella at the beach, which actually transpires is on his reservation, and learns that she has invited Edward also, but he didn't show up. Jacob's friends retort that the Cullens don't come to the reservation, and Jacob later tells Bella that Quaaludes are supposed to be descendant from wolves and that Cullens are supposed to be descended from this rival enemy clan. Jacob says that his great-great-grandfather found the Cullens on his land doing something, and a pact was made for the Cullens to stay off the reservation in exchange for the Quaalude to maintain their privacy and secret.
Yeah, right. So this whole scene, right, it's genuinely like it's written by an 8-year-old. It's awful.
Yeah.
Like I've written here, was this written by a child? Because it's so bad, this beach bit.
Everything about the beach bit is odd.
What really gets me is that, so just after 33 minutes, 33:06, because I actually took a note, right?
Wow.
He says the Cullens don't come here or something. Somebody says that. And then 33 minutes, 22 seconds, he goes, oh, so you caught that, right?
Yeah.
You caught that, did you? And you're like, yeah, she caught it. It was less than a minute ago.
Yeah, and also he said it to her face.
You said it to her face. So it's like, why is that line even there? Oh, you caught that, huh? Aye, I did, because it was within this minute of footage that you said that.
Yeah, like I've not got a memory issue. I'm okay. I know that like I'm quite vacant, but I've not got any memory problems, I promise. Yeah, the whole thing's very odd. Like the angles when they're sitting in the van having that initial chat, like they're all squinty.
Yeah.
And they're very oddly framed.
The only thing I can try and say to stick up for that point I just made is that there's an awkward silence after they talk about the Cullens. So it might be that after that awkward silence, that's why he's like, oh, did you catch that? Because he's not wanted to say because there was an awkward silence.
Yeah.
But more time would have to have passed for that to land, and it doesn't it?
Yeah, although it does kind of ring true for what teens probably would say to each other.
True. And I was all like, oh, Vamp Clan versus Wolf Clan. Is that what's going on here?
Basically, yeah.
But they're like, so that they were a rival clan. Does that mean that the Cullens were also like of Native American descent? I don't know.
No, I don't
So that
think
doesn't
so.
make any sense. Why refer to them as a clan?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Also, just to point out that there's many groovy hats in this scene to get into emphasise how cold it is.
I did not notice the hats.
No, Yeah, Bella's wearing a nice sort of hand crocheted number.
Nice.
Yeah, very odd.
I tell you, at this point, Eric's chasing someone with a fish, right? And then earlier on, he was chasing someone with a worm when they were at a herbology lesson,
yeah.
right? So you're like, this Eric kid he's that kid, eh?
He is that kid.
He's the nonsense child.
Yeah,
I don't dislike him either.
Yeah, I don't dislike it.
Because I felt later on when he's the DJ at like the prom.
Yeah.
And I was like, Eric's the DJ. That fits.
Oh my god, maybe he's the cheddar wizard.
Oh my god, yeah, Bobby.
Yeah.
Cheddar wizard!
Yeah, maybe that's it. He's come to life.
That was a callback to our a Goofy movie episode 6 of the podcast, season 1.
Yeah.
If you want to check it out, we did talk about a Goofy movie and it was a fun time.
It was a fun time. We had a hoot. And the soundtrack has become a firm favourite.
Oh man, I've not stopped listening to it. I've not stopped wearing my Powerline t-shirt.
Yeah, it's just gone through the wash
I had to
again.
wash it today because it stank. Charlie's friend Waylon is attacked by a group of people while he's working alone on his boat. I think this is Buttcrack Santa.
It is Buttcrack
Right.
Santa. Sad.
And there's one woman who's joined by 2 men and they both attack Waylon and murder him. And the death resembles that of an animal attack, so they're going down this road of animal attacks.
Good cover.
Yeah, there's always a cover they use in these, like, some kind of animal attack.
No animal could do this. That was the only line that
It's
was
like
missing.
Ginger Snaps thing that happens in American Werewolf in London. Like, it's normally
To be
werewolf
fair,
stuff. To be
yeah,
fair.
they are animals. And maybe that's why they're doing it that way, to pin it on the werewolves. If there are werewolves. Not that I know.
I just thought I'd use that as an excuse to name 2 great movies about werewolves. Not that this movie is about werewolves. This movie's about vampires. There's no werewolves in this.
Yeah, don't be silly.
I mean, come on, eh?
They don't exist.
Seriously, like, that would be stupid. Like, oh yeah, I had a note here, just like new vamps in town.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like they're Cullen skinkers to me.
No,
No.
they definitely don't give off the Cullen-y vibe. The Cullens are very...
I thought you were going to say the Cullen skink scent. And I was like, you don't want that scent.
No, you do not. The Cullens have very kind of clean-cut vibes.
Yeah, they do.
They're very polished.
Peely-wally, sexy and polished.
Yeah, well, these guys are very kind of rough and boho.
So Jessica tells Bella at school that whenever the weather improves, the Cullens disappear. Very strange. Bella has been researching books on Quaalude legends and she finds somewhere local to sell one of these books. So she goes there to buy the book and she splits away for her friends and they're all prom dress shopping. And she goes away and while walking back after buying the book, it's dark and she's attacked by some creeps. And then suddenly Edward sort of arrives in his car and he's like, get in. And then he scares the men away just by giving them a weird look. Where he's sort of like, and it's sort of like somebody's grabbed his skin and they're pulling it tight against his face and his cheekbones kind of point forward.
Yeah.
And he's like,
He's trying to get his cheekbones as out as possible.
aye, and I think the guys are scared by it because they're like, this guy's a total raj. I don't think we should mess with him. He's mental.
Yeah, he's giving them the Paddington hard stare.
If Paddington was a maniac.
Yeah, and knew how to stunt drive. Like, why on earth is he skidding
I
about?
know, eh? I'm like,
doing
I've not done
donuts
that
and
in my
stuff.
lessons yet. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's a great lesson, that one.
I'll tell you what, right, see the prom dress shopping scene, Bella's so no into it, she's sitting there like, this is boring as hell, that would be me.
She is the worst friend. I'm sorry.
And then she's like, oh, I'm just going to go and buy a book, and I'm like, that is me. That's just exactly what I would do.
Well, don't come then.
No, I wouldn't go. This is why I didn't go anywhere at school.
Yeah, like, if you're going to
We've discussed this.
Yeah, either come and take part or just don't come. Like,
There was a bit just before this bit, right, where they're at school and Bella's having a conversation with someone about something. I couldn't tell you who it was and I can't tell you what it was about because I was too distracted. Because there is kids hacky sacking in the background and there is no hacky sack.
yes, that's right.
They're literally, it's like they're pretend hacky sacking.
No, there was no hacky sack budget for this film.
Oh, but there must be because Edward's really good at it because he can hacky sack with apples apparently. And I'm like, and I just think right, it was wild. And I saw a reel about this, and I laughed hard. I'll actually share it to the socials as well at some point maybe. So the thing that I was wondering here is where the hell did Edward come from?
Yeah, unclear.
He's just like, he just appears in his car and he's like, get in, and then his wee cheekbone thing, and then it's like, what's going on?
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with that. Like, I don't know how far his telepathy powers go,
Nah.
but he must have been following her really closely because it seems quite a busy area, so there must have been a lot of interference.
Aye. And it's like, I know I've already talked about the look he gives them and it's weird. It's really odd, but their reaction is friggin' hilarious. Because he just looks at them like he's shitting his pants or something and with an intense stare in his eye and they're just like, oh.
I know,
And they
right?
kind of just like back away and run away and it's like, what's going on?
I have no idea. Yeah, you could try that in Scotland, but it wouldn't work.
It's not going to work, mate. So Edward later admits that he is very protective of Bella, which is not surprising. And he was keeping an eye on her from a distance till she needed his help.
Double creep.
Aye. So you know what? I know you're going to need my help, so I'm just going to keep watching. And then when you need me, I'll come out and be like, look at my cheekbones.
This is 100% restraining order fodder.
Aye, you're right, it is. And he intervened when he could hear what the men were thinking of doing to her. And he's like, what they were thinking was horrible, and I couldn't stand that.
Yeah, the vibes were really pretty horrid.
So Edward drops Bella off where she was supposed to be having dinner with her friends, and he arrives just as the two friends are leaving. Edward asks Bella if she would like to stop for something to eat, to which she agrees. So Edward doesn't eat with Bella and says that he is on a special diet.
Oh, I wonder why. You really not going to eat?
No, I'm on a special diet. It's like, and it's the way that they enunciate that. He enunciates that diet bit just in case you didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh. Do you know what? This is a less subtle, like seeing Dracula, right? Todd Browning, 1931. Bela Lugosi, right? In that film, he says, he gets offered wine and he says, no, I never drink wine, right? And that's a small, very light allusion to blood and the joke that he's no drinking wine, but he'll drink blood. And it's like, right? But this is far less subtle.
No, this is the absolute blunt instrument.
I'm on a special diet.
Yeah.
And at this point, I've just got to know this says, his mood swings are exhausting.
They are.
Because they are. Edward admits that he can read every mind except Bella's, which leads to a bit of... We laughed at this part, didn't we?
We did.
Money, sex, money, sex, cat. Like he's going through everyone in the restaurant, saying what they're thinking. And it's a wee guy's just thinking about his cat in the corner. He's like...
Oh, no, we've all been there, eh?
He's in the pub. He's in a restaurant sitting with somebody. He doesn't want to be their way. He's thinking about his cat.
Yeah, want to get home to my cat. I've got a theory about why Edward can't read Bella's mind. It's because her mind is empty.
That's valid. There is nothing there.
Yeah.
Knock, knock, knock. Nah, like I say, I don't even think Bella's an unlikable character.
No, she's not.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But she's just so vacant.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't tell if Kristen Stewart did the job and did it well.
I'm not
perhaps.
sure.
But there's other things coming up soon which will suggest otherwise. But Edward drives her home and says that he doesn't have the strength to stay away from her anymore. Creepsville!
Yeah, too intense.
There's a bit during the dinner scene, actually, where he smiles and it's really creepy. He smiles and it's supposed to be endearing, I think, but it's just no. And you're like, oh, it gives me the ick. It doesn't look right. And then... it's like he laughs as well and it's no right either because it's so different from everything he's done up to then. It's like he's faking it.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah, and it's like, I know he's supposed to be tortured in that or whatever. He's supposed to be brooding or whatever nonsense, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's that he's supposed to be so reserved and then his true nature shining through, cracking through the austere exterior.
And so they're driving away, they're driving up the road and she touches his hand or something and she's like, oh, your hands are really cold. And he's driving very dangerously as well at this point. I couldn't help but notice.
He is driving very dangerously.
He isn't a stunt driver, as you said. He is a teenage boy. Get driving appropriately, son.
I know, his insurance must be through the roof.
On the drive home, they stop at an office where the police are and Bella's like, oh, my dad's here. And then, because she sees the car, and then Edward's like, so's my dad, that's his car. See, when they're approaching, there is a part of the worst acting I have ever seen from Kristen Stewart. And this is what I was referring to when I said, you know, maybe she's just acting it well, but I don't know if she's capable. No, at this time anyway, but they're driving up and they see the stuff and she just goes, what is going on?
Yeah, she's like a robot.
What is going on? And and I'm like, how did that make the cut, guys? How?
Yeah.
I understand this is a low budget affair, but you surely had the 5 seconds to redo that one shot where it was so bad.
Yeah.
Did you notice it?
I did notice it. Especially it was unnecessary as well. Like they could have, if the dialogue was that bad, they could have just chopped it off.
But it was only at this point that I realised it was Buttcrack Santa that had died. I was like, no, Buttcrack Santa!
Christmas will never be the same again.
I know. We're going to have a buttcrackless Christmas this year.
I'm sure we can mix that in one of the Christmas songs.
Christmas and Forks would be proper depressing, I feel.
Well, yeah, it's going to be blue-grey, everything else is.
And there's a bit here where we see Buttcrack Santa's body getting wheeled out in the stretcher and his feet are just sticking out the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure that would be the case. I feel like a body would be placed into a body bag or appropriate vessel to transport a body.
That feels like the most appropriate way and respectful way to transport somebody's dead body.
Not just have feet sticking out the bottom, aye.
Yeah, I don't know if they just assumed people wouldn't know it was a body, but of course you're going to know it's a body.
There's on a stretcher died. And there are ambulances and shit. Of course it's a bloody body.
I know. Give me a bit of respect, eh?
Ken.
So Charlie's obviously distraught with Waylon's death. and he notes that the animal attacks are gradually coming closer to the town. I know, that's going to be bad news. He gives Bella a pepper spray for her protection at this point, which I think is quite sweet, actually. But you think after the evening that Bella has had, you think she would take the pepper spray, like, more willingly? Like, she just, there's been an attempted assault, like, she's had to be rescued by Edward.
But it's like, there's been an animal attack, here, have this pepper spray. Because that's going to help you against a wolf.
Well, better than nothing.
True. I don't think a wolf would be very pleased with mace to the eyes.
No, I don't think it would, but at least buy you 30 seconds to get out of the way. So Bella goes home to continue her research, and she discovers that the Quaalude legend spoke of a cold one, which has
A cold one? Open the fridge and get a cold one, Charlie.
which has parallels in several civilizations across the world. The creature was supposed to have great speed, strength, is cold-skinned, drank blood, and is immortal.
And this is where Bella's like, oh my god, he's a vampire.
Yes, that's exactly it. Bella concludes that Edward is a vampire. He doesn't eat or drink anything, and he doesn't go out in sunlight.
Yeah, doesn't go in sunlight. He's quite cold.
At this point, she also has a fantasy about Edward being a vampire. Do you remember this?
No.
Yeah, there's this weird sort of cutaway scene where it is like, if he was like a movie vampire and she was like the movie sort of damsel in distress.
How do I not remember that?
Oh, I don't know how.
That feels really ill-placed and really awkward.
It was very odd, but Robert Pattinson, Edward, gives me very Robert Smith from The Cure vibe.
Oh, yeah. I love it that you pointed this out to me also, is that she's looking up all the different areas in the lore and all these things, and it's like Japan and like all these exotic places, and it's just got Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
You also get a bit of a Count Orlok throwback. There's a shot of Count Orlok, as in Max Schreck from the original Nosferatu movie, which I appreciated. That Nosferatu film was based on Bram Stoker's book and notoriously was based on it, but it was an illegally made film without permission from the publishers and from Bram Stoker. So most of the copies of the movie were destroyed. Some survived, thankfully, and now we have this amazing piece of history, which is a very good translation of Bram Stoker's book. So anyway, a bit of decent vamp chat. Now back to the swill. Also, I had here, she figured it out.
I know.
Well done, Bella.
Yep, good job. Glad to see all that research paid off.
She's so clever.
Okay. So Edward and Bella are at school and they head off up this track towards this foresty patch.
Oh god, this is Kat's favourite scene in any movie ever.
Oh, it's brilliant. And they have a discussion about how the fact that Edward is a vampire, have quite an open and honest transaction about it.
It's kind of weird though, because she walks into the forest and then he follows her because she's like, I know he's going to follow me because he's a friggin' creep.
Yeah.
So she's, hey,
It's true. She asks him, how long have you been 17? And he goes, a while.
He doesn't really tell us.
Yeah, no, a while. He goes on to show Bella his powers in a sort of power show, which I quite enjoyed.
It's power show.
A power show. His powers appear to be super speed, super strength, super hearing, and mind reading.
Ooh.
Wow.
And he does this little weird sort of floaty run up the hill.
He does do the floaty run up the hill.
It's so odd. And it was, right, I've got here, uneven, stilted, jerky, awful.
Yeah, I love the running in this film. These films. It comes
great,
up
so
more
this
than
continues.
One.
This is a motif which runs through the series, is it?
It does. I adore it. It's such a weird choice.
Marvellous.
It is odd, beyond odd. He goes on to show Bella that his skin sparkles like diamonds in the sunlight. And Bella finds him beautiful. But Edward considers himself to be a killer.
Q Cat's probable favourite line from the season, right? This is what I am.
It's like diamonds. You're beautiful.
Beautiful. This is the skin of a killer, Bella.
Oh.
Now, Kat says this all the time, and every time we've been talking about doing this movie since we started Rank Rotten, and Kat was like, every time she goes, this is the skin of a killer, and you do it like you're Irish. I don't know why.
I don't know why
You've
either.
been doing it for literally years now.
Oh, hilarious.
The skin of a killer.
This is the skin of a killer. So funny, honestly.
But the sparkling, I wasn't ready for it. I knew about it because I know it's been joked about forever, and everybody's like, Twilight, that's the thing with the sparkly vampires, and they're correct.
Such an odd choice. Like, why sparkles? But
it's like diamonds. You're beautiful. That's the bit that cracks me up.
Bella continues to say that she trusts him, even though he says he never wanted a human's blood more in his life than hers.
Oh, it's you. Your scent, it's like a drug to me.
Honestly. He then goes on to say that she is his own personal brand of heroin.
Yeah, he does say that. Oh, man.
Edward reveals that the first time they met, he hated Bella for making him want her so badly.
Hence why he looked so pissed.
Yeah.
So what's his excuse now?
Exactly, I know. And they include the line that the lion has fallen in love with the lamb.
Oh, God. Do you know something that cracks me up here? Is the forest scene when she first confronts him. There's this really bizarre Matrix-style swooping rotational shot around the two of them, right? It's horrendous. Now, it's not because the idea is you don't need it for a start, right? It's not required. There are so many other ways to get this scene across using traditional camera methods, not using a swoopy shot just because it's in at the moment, and which I think is probably why they did it.
Yeah.
But it's awful. It's so stilted, uneven. It rocks about the place. It's horrible to watch.
Yeah.
And it's sped up and it's jerky and it moves all over the place and it's not smooth, it's not pleasing to the eye to watch.
No.
So they've slid that shot in because they think it's cool, but it looks horrendous.
It does. During their time together, the pair fall in love. As we said. And Edward reveals that he has been a vampire since 1918, when he was dying of Spanish flu and Carlyle saved him by injecting him with vampire venom. The vampire venom is an interesting turn.
I think I've heard the
tale.
term vampire venom before, but maybe it's werewolf venom I'm thinking of.
Edward says that it takes a lot of restraint to taste human blood and then manage to stop feeding. He doesn't want to be a monster, and he tells her that there are other vampires out there who are responsible for Waylon's death. He says that all vampires have some sort of special ability. He can read minds, and Alice, his foster sister, can see the future. He mentions at this point that the Cullen family only eat animal bloods and mentions they are similar to vegetarians.
I don't remember if he says this or no, but I've got in my notes, blood frenzy.
Oh,
is that a thing?
I don't know.
Right, well, I hope it is, but I've written blood frenzy because I'm like, maybe that's the way I interpret it.
I think he does say something about this where he says about having the restraint to stop.
Aye, so they can't
somebody.
stop. It's like a blood frenzy.
Yeah.
We see them in the piss and rain here at school, and this is what, I found this hilarious. Ed is soaked, absolutely soaked. She's no really.
No, she's bone dry.
And then I think the wee flashback happens or whatever, and then the next scene they're sitting in a different place with new clothes on and they're blown dry. This isn't a continuity error. This is because it's supposed to be a different day. That's what I think they're doing.
I agree.
But it's not really clearly put, and it's really sloppy. If they were having that conversation, they wouldn't be having it in one day.
Yeah.
At the time, there's no reason to spread it out over several days and therefore have costume changes and therefore have them dry now. It was stupid. It was sloppy, messy.
If it was meant to be a montage, it was very odd.
Aye, super weird.
And definitely not the favourite montage of the movie.
Also, I love it when he's like, we only have the blood of animals, so we're like vegetarians. And I was like, mate, that's not what a vegetarian is.
Yeah, I think he's missed the point of vegetarianism.
If you think eating animals makes you a vegetarian, you've missed the point.
So Edward introduces Bella to his vampire family. And the big secret's out.
At home with the Cullen skinks. Yeah.
So there's Carlyle, who's played by Peter Facinelli, who is a compassionate 300-plus-year-old vampire who looks to be in his early 30s. He serves as the town physician and is the father figure of the Cullen family. Esme, who is played by Elizabeth Reese, is Carlyle's wife. Alice...
Wrong liver, crunk. Oh wait, no, that's Yzma. I'm getting confused.
Yeah, that is Yzma.
That's Yzma from bloody Emperor's New Cold Grave, sorry.
There's Alice, who is a vampire who can see into the future, as we've already been introduced to. Jasper is a member of the Cullen family who can manipulate emotions, which I actually don't think comes up till the second film.
All right, and he's all like, Jasper's our latest vegetarian, so sorry that he's looking at you like he wants to kill you.
Yeah,
he does.
He's literally looking at her like...
And I was just like, mate, like...
I know. He goes to the local high school. Like, if he can't control himself, he shouldn't be out in public. Emmett, who is played by Kellen Lutz, is physically the strongest vampire of the family, which you can see by a country mile, and that he's like a gorilla.
He's cool.
He's massive. And last but not least is Rosalie, who is Emmett's partner.
Rosalie.
And we see the Cullen family are preparing dinner for Bella, which is quite nice, and they make reference to the fact they've never made dinner before.
He's like, we just did an excuse to use our kitchen for the first time.
Yeah, and they're following like a video or like some sort of video recipe anyway, on how to make this Italian food. And Bella is introduced to them and they're like, we've made you dinner, hope you like Italiano and all that sort of stuff, trying to make her feel as welcome as possible. And Edward just blurts out like, she's already eaten.
Yeah, one of the sisters. Who's that one?
Rosalie.
She gets really pissed and breaks a bowl.
She does. She smashes a bowl in anger, like she's just like, ugh. Bella's intentions were quite nice though, in that she didn't want to put them out because obviously they don't eat food.
Well, that's true, but they're already cooking, so...
Yeah, it's a bit late.
But this is all on Edward. He should have said,
Yeah.
my family are going to cook for you. It's a big deal because they've never used the kitchen before because we're all vampires, by the way, so...
Exactly.
I mean?
Yeah. So it's clearly kept them.
And then there's a whole spiel here about, like, basically Rosalie's like, if this ends badly, you know... And then Bella's like, what do you mean end badly? And then she's all like, oh, if I become the meal. She says something like that. And it's so... It's the word... It's... Oh... Why would you even write that?
And you know...
shit.
It is. It really is. And I think it's a really bad attempt at making Bella funny, and she's just not funny. And I'm not sure
I think
if
you
it's...
can play to an actor's strengths. Even Kristen Stewart, if you write something in the right way, they will be able to put it across in the right way. But you're forcing her to do something that she's not going to be able to do well.
She's not funny.
Is that just the way what you're going with?
I just don't think that
I don't know.
Kristen
I've
Stewart
never
is
had
funny.
a conversation with Kristen Stewart yet. Right?
Neither have I.
I might... You know, she might come on the podcast and we chat about the next Twilight movie. I'll ask her, right? I'll ask her on. Kristen Stewart, do you want to come on and talk about how shit you were in the next Twilight movie? And she'll probably say aye.
Well, stranger things have happened, Mikey.
I'm going to message her after this. I'm not. I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah, please don't.
Nah.
Maybe in her personal life she's very funny, but Bella certainly isn't funny.
Nah, she's not. I just... the whole thing's awkward, right? And then they all sort of laugh after she says the meal thing. Oh, I become the meal. It's terrible writing. It's clumsy. It's just, it should never have been committed to screen, right?
No.
And then they're all laughing really awkwardly, like, and you're like, right, what is this bizarro world? You know what I mean?
Very odd.
And actually, Jimmy, see when they arrive at the house, Edward gets out the car, right, and he goes to let Bella out, which is all very nice, but he super sort of like friggin' Barry Allen style runs round the car to open the door for the other side, open the door for her, super fast with his super speed, and you're like, no necessary.
I think it is kind of necessary because this is his home. This is where he can be comfortable. Like the house is clearly in a really secluded area.
I was going to say it's in the middle of the woods,
but it's nice that he's comfortable in his own home.
So as we've said, their house is like deep in the woods and it's secluded. It's quite open. It's quite light. It's actually beautiful, right?
It's a gorgeous house.
If you like the sort of modern style of house.
Yeah.
My dream house would be a wee cottage somewhere, right? Living that cottage core hobbit life. That would be me.
I can imagine that in the bleak winter in Forks, that might be a bit chilly, that house, but probably not a problem for the undead.
It's like we always call our life here our seaside core life. That's basically what we've got here.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with that.
Me too.
So do you know what? I mentioned this earlier, but there's a display here that kind of emphasises how much they've moved around and stuff. And it's like a display of graduation caps and like a gradient. It's actually a really nice piece of art on the wall.
It's a beautiful piece of art.
And it's like their little private joke because all they do is graduate all the time.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's quite funny, yeah?
Yeah, I quite like it. It's very, it's quite a subtle wee joke.
So, but you know what I didn't get? We didn't get how it's possible for these kids to be inducted and matriculated into several schools with the same ID. Have they got fake IDs? You can't just get into school with a fake ID. It's quite a, government related process.
I feel like Carlisle's got plenty of money though, so if he wanted to make some fake documents he could make that happen.
He's a doctor, eh?
Exactly.
No wonder he's a doctor. He's probably been to uni 16,000 times.
He's got 15 PhDs.
Basically, they see this thing on the way to Edward's room, eh? So the two continue to go up to Edward's room and he's all like, this is my room, check it out. And you can basically, he's got these big double doors and it opens right into the woods. And basically he decides to show off all his amazing powers to Bella, doesn't he?
He does.
So Edward basically jumps out his big double door window onto a tree and Bella's on his back and he's like, I'm going to give you a wee showcase of how cool my vampire powers are, eh? And he turns around and he gives her this a bizarre pet name. You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
Why?
Anywhere, eh? Spider Monkey. And it's this thing with this movie where I feel like they're trying to give you a lighter tone occasionally and it doesn't work.
I don't know. I feel this one kind of does, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would disagree. I just think that it's actually Edward being free for a minute and the two of them enjoying each other's company.
And the bit where they're jumping between the trees, I could swear they were attached to some sort of rope or something.
I was thinking...
It was really odd because he kind of moves in a horizontal direction and it kind of floats.
Yeah.
And it's either a really weird special effect or they've literally had them attached to a rope and then just moved them up between the trees and then sped it up.
I think they've 100% done exactly that. I think this is all done with harnesses and pulleys because even when he's going up the tree, it's kind of like is it a go ape?
Aye. There's a bit after this where they're sitting playing the piano and it's that little sort of Twilight tune, the famous score that I don't remember and neither do you. But then I had it jotted in here, like, why does Bella always look like she's going to vom all the time?
She really does. The two of them pull the oddest faces I've ever seen.
Maybe they're a good match. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what this whole thing's. They're just a good match for each other.
Yeah, maybe that's why it spurred on a real life relationship. Who knows?
Is that right,
Oh, famously, yeah.
Aye.
The two of them had a quite famous breakup, or there was certainly an incident. I don't think it was after it that they broke up, but shortly afterwards they did, where Kristen was caught kissing the director of Snow White and the Huntsman, who was a married man.
Oh dear.
In public.
Oh dearie me.
Yes, so I think her and Rob didn't last very long after that point. Don't worry, he's now, I think he's just got married actually, and he's got a like baby.
I think he's cool.
Yeah, I think he's cool too.
What was he doing in this?
I think he also quite famously is not thrilled with these.
So Bella's in touch with her ma, right? And she's enjoying life with her new husband. Meanwhile, Charlie investigates Wayland's death and finds a bare human footprint near the murder site.
Oh.
Ooh. Edward visits Bella in her bedroom and says that he has been visiting her for the past couple of months to watch her sleep. Oh, he's so cute and gorgeous and brooding. No, he is a creep. Bella, run as fast as you can. You know, he's going to catch you. Maybe get on an airplane. I don't know. Leave. Get the hell away from this guy.
Yeah, I don't know if he's as fast as an airplane. That's a good point.
Anyway, as a result of that conversation, they end up kissing for some reason. And Edward backs away as he doesn't want to lose control, as it could lead to Bella being hurt.
Oh, very considerate.
And I think the kiss is supposed to be sexy.
I think
but
it is.
It's no. It's really breathy and just like toothy, and it's just horrible.
I think also it doesn't help that Edward is like, don't move, really, really don't move. And I find that...
He slams himself up against the wall. It's very funny.
Well, that was quite weird. Like he got an electric shock.
I know he's like, oh God, sorry, I literally slammed myself up against the wall. But he's like, and it's a lot.
Yeah, and I think it just kind of felt like to me that he's been dead controlling of her. Like, don't move. And it's like, well, we're kissing. I kind of need to move.
Aye.
And it's not going to be possible for me to stay dead still. So I didn't like it very much.
So Bella introduces Edward to Charlie, right? And then Edward takes Bella to a family outing where they play baseball during a storm. Just to say, I think when they come in to introduce Edward to Charlie, Charlie's cleaning his shotgun.
He is.
And it's very funny. Because he's like, he goes... She's like, oh, Edward's outside, he really wants to meet you. And he's like, all right, cool. Is that the Cullen kid or one of those vamp kids sound, right? And then he doesn't say that, but, and he's like, all right. And he cocks it, bring him in.
Yeah. Charlie's the best.
It's every dad probably meeting their daughter's boyfriend. Yeah. Your dad didn't do that to me. Your dad was very nice to me and always has been.
He's a good egg.
So they're away to play baseball. The whole idea here is that the thunderclaps are going to mask the noise of the bat being hit by the vampires because they just hit it that hard. Because it's very loud when they smack the ball.
Wow.
And the ball travels super far and the vampires run after it. I think the idea here is that it gives the vampires a chance to be themselves and actually use their powers openly.
Yes.
But this scene is wild.
The scene is wild. The whole thing around it, like, I was a big Muse fan at this point in my life.
Aye.
And like Supermassive Black Hole is just a classic. So I did think it was actually quite a good use of that piece of music.
It was that one licensed piece of music they had in the whole film.
Basically, yeah. And they must have spent quite a chunk of the budget on that. Yeah, there's like the bit where Alice is pitching and she's doing that weird leg thing where like she's pointing her leg up like a ballerina.
It's outrageous. It's like she is like a ballerina. I was like, what is with that leg? I mean, I know that baseball players do that, but hers is outrageous.
Yeah.
And it's also like the whole thunder thing is just completely over the top.
It is.
It's as over the top as Edward not being able to restrain himself when he first meets Bella. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that whole scene. I remember that first scene. I didn't talk about it earlier, but when we saw that scene, I burst out laughing because I was like, this is outrageous.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And this scene is just the same.
Yeah. I don't hate it though.
No, it's funny.
Yeah. And it is. It's one of the more memorable scenes in this film.
I actually like the bit where the two brothers clash together and then there's a thunder in the background. You see the fork of thunder and they're like, bam, smash, and they smash together. And I was like, oh, that's quite satisfying.
It is.
But I did note that the background effects are terrible. The lightning and all that.
Yeah, it looks like it's been in Clipchamp.
I was about to say that very thing. That's exactly what it looks like. And there's also a bit where like one of the guys jumps into the tree and then one of the things is Rosalie and she's like, my monkey man.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
Is that her? It says
yeah,
that, I think.
it is.
My monkey man.
Yeah, very odd. So in the middle of their baseball game, 3 other vampires appear, much to their distress. And this is James, who's played by Cam Gigandet. I think I've pronounced that right.
That's how I would say it, I think, Guy.
It might be a French accent on that, but...
Gigandet.
Yeah, could be. And I'm very sorry if I got it wrong. He is noted as being a gifted tracker due to his unparalleled senses. Ooh.
You can smell things.
Yeah, he's got a good sense of smell. Yeah. Then there's also Victoria, who is played by Rachel Lefebvre. I'm assuming that one's got an accent on it. And Laurent, who is played by Eddie Gathegi. And he seems to definitely be the most civilised out of this 3 and arrives and has a good chat with them. These are blood vampires, and you can tell this by the fact they've got red eyes as opposed to the golden brown eyes that
Is
the
that
Cullens
what
have.
that means? I had no clue.
So the
and then there's this bit here where like they're in the middle of talking, right? And then James just goes, oh! And they're like, what's wrong? And he's like, I just smelled somebody fart for 200 miles away. Because my sense of smell is that good. All I smell is farts all the time.
They're unparalleled senses.
Unparalleled farts.
Yeah. The family are kind of scrambling at this point to try and keep Bella hidden. So they kind of shuffle.
Outrageous, yeah. Act casual, guys. Do not know the meaning of act casual.
No.
Edward and Bella do not act casual. They act like the least casual people ever.
Oh,
because
honestly.
they're not capable of acting normal. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't know how to act like normal human beings at the best of times. And it's just crazy. So they try and shuffle Bella to the back so that the blood vampires can't get a whiff of her. So they have a conversation. They're like, oh, have you got a space for 3 more vampires to play baseball? And they're like, sure, of course. Yeah, actually, we just had a couple people leaving, so there'll be plenty of space for you. And that was going to be their excuse for Edward and Bella to kind of head off.
This gave me the heeb because, like, see when like I was a kid, and if you had another group of kids turn up and say, "Do you want to play?" Things were going to go wrong. The kids weren't there to play; they were going to mess with you, and that's exactly what's happening here.
Well, there you go.
And that may just speak volumes for the place I grew up, but that is exactly what it would be. Other kids turn up, oh, we want to play football too. Oh my God, we're going to get battered. They're going to steal our ball. Something's going to go wrong. And that's what it was like. Do you know what I mean? That's what this felt like.
Oh God.
Not something you ever experienced? Oh, okay. One of those.
I'm afraid not. So they're all kind of heading off. So Edward and Bella are going to head off, and then the others are going to join their baseball game. And the wind catches Bella's hair again. That bloody wind.
We fan guys who like...
Yeah, that leaf blower.
Get a leaf blower out and Bella's like...
And of course, James, with his unparalleled senses, catches a whiff of her straight away.
Aye.
Straight away, he's right on it.
I love it if somebody edited it so all you heard was like a wee... like Bella lets one go and then James is like, that's a human fart. Like,
somebody will have done that, I guarantee it. So the discovery of Bella leads to a showdown between the 2 groups, and the Cullens manage to hiss their way to get in the nomads to go away.
Yeah, but what James actually says here is he turns around and he goes, you brought a snack.
Oh.
He does.
No.
It's like, oh God.
That dialogue. That golden dialogue.
Hey, listen, some 8-year-old girl that wrote this out there's got all that money. So
yeah, they head off. As I said, James is a tracker vampire, and he is intrigued by Edward's protectiveness over a human, and that's basically just made like a red rag to a bull and made James want to hunt her down even more.
All the other vampires are like, oh, it's just going to make him worse. And it's like, all right, so basically what you're telling me is that vampires are weird, obsessive freaks.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah.
Yeah, basically.
He's not going to stop now. That's what vampires do. And it's like, right, okay.
Sure.
There's
like,
no nuance. There's no nuance.
There's no
it's
nuance.
Like vampires are either good and quote unquote vegetarians who eat animal blood, right? Yeah. or they're vampires that eat human blood.
Yeah.
And then we know exactly how each one behaves.
Yeah,
you know
and there doesn't seem to be a real reason for James to be hunting her down apart from just something to do.
Also, Bella gets really angry here when Edward's trying to help her with her seatbelt. She's like, I've got it! It's like, right, whoa, calm down.
Yeah. So Edward knows that for the only way for Bella to be safe is to kill James by ripping him to pieces.
Yeah, I always thought it was very dramatic, and it turns out, no, that's the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, in this universe, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. And Edward asks Bella to leave town. And to do this, Bella has to go and tell her dad that she's leaving and not coming back. And it's actually really sad.
Like, Charlie's like, I don't understand. I think things were going all right.
Yeah, I just felt so sorry for him because she uses the exact same wording that our mum did when she left.
Aye, she doesn't need to go that hard is what I thought. It was like, didn't be a dick, you can do this in a different way.
I know, and you can see the exact moment that Charlie's heart breaks.
That's it, like,
so
didn't
sad.
even upset the only decent and cool character in this whole movie, please.
Totally, especially she's really savage. She's like, yeah, I'm just really bored, you're not a good dad, and I'm leaving.
Yeah, like, she doesn't need to do that. Like, you say
100%
that,
doesn't need to do that. Poor Charlie, as I say. He's the true hero here. So they all head back to the Cullen compound, as I've put it.
That's a good idea. That's what it is.
It kind of is like that. And interestingly here, I've also noted that Kristen Stewart also always looks like she's going to vomit.
Oh, did you notice that too?
I did. I've literally written it down. And the family have decided that they're going to risk their lives to protect Bella. Why?
I know, it's this whole thing when it's like, no, she's important to Edward. And this is the other thing. None of the Cullens have any problem with this.
No, apart from...
It's a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Firstly, he's going to outlive her, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it's like they're worried about being exposed in that, but nobody really seems to care apart from Rosalie, and you're like, you should all care.
Yeah, I know, they're all like, okay.
Rosalie's the only one with any sense, it seems like.
Totally. Rosalie and Charlie are the heroes in this film. Yeah, so they come up with this devious plan to try and get James away from Bella, and that they're going to split up into 3 groups. One group taking some of Bella's clothing in one direction so that her scent travels one way. One group travelling with another piece of clothing in another direction and rubbing it on trees and that.
It's like, scent mark the tree, and I genuinely thought she was going to piss on the tree, like just a wee blip, 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 blip. But no, she doesn't. Because that's the total normal noise for a PA. Blip, 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 blip. But anyway,
you just walked Gus way too much.
That's true. But I was like, oh, she's going to piss on the tree. But then I realised she's going to rub scent, like Bella's sort of piss scent on the tree.
Yeah, no, just her normal
just
scent,
normal scent.
not pee-pee scent. Yeah, just try and throw James off the scent by putting him on the scent. Well, the third group of Alice and Jasper drive Bella south towards Phoenix. So James follows the scent trail for a while, that is the misdirected scent trail, and then suddenly realises that there's been a mistake. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how either. And that he locks onto the true scent of Bella and follows it.
This whole scene is a zippy zoom in, and it's like jumbled, sloppy, very irritating to watch and friggin' nauseating.
Yeah, it is a bit OTT in my opinion. Alice realises with her future powers that James has changed track and that he would lure Bella to a room full of mirrors. So she does a drawing of this room that she can see in her visions, and Bella's like, I know that place. I did ballet class there. It's not far from here. So Bella receives a call while hiding in a hotel in Phoenix with Alice and Jasper. It's a very nice hotel suite they're in. Like, they clearly spared no expense.
Every time you say Jasper, I can think of, because we were watching, me and Kat are doing our watch through Steven Universe just now. Kat is loving it, aren't you?
I am, it's really good.
It's a brilliant show. It's so good. But all I can think of is Jasper from Steven Universe. Every time you say Jasper, that's all I can think of.
I can totally see why.
Yeah.
James is obviously on the other end of this call, and he says that he's tracked Bella to Phoenix and manages to lure her into a trap by claiming he is holding her mother hostage. Bella leaves the hotel without telling anyone, as that is what James has instructed her to do. When Bella reaches the ballet studio, she finds that James was only using a video of her mother to lure her in. What a rotter.
Tech-savvy vampires. I didn't even know he was using a video.
Yeah. Weirdly, they have like this video set up in a cupboard in this ballet studio. It's very strange.
Must be for making promo videos for their wee dance classes or something.
It must be.
No idea.
But it's a weird like old style family video.
Right. I'll tell you what,
footage.
The call here, right? Bella is just like, she's like, don't touch her. But the acting is worse than that, right? And it's like, it's so terrible. She's so unconvincing, right? And I'm like, is she even trying? And then I was like, I actually feel sorry for Kristen Stewart having this on her CV.
Yeah.
Or what's it called? Resume, right? I feel sorry for her. Because it's like, imagine having this, like everybody knows you for this.
I know.
Kristen Stewart's life is going to be haunted by this frigging movie. No Robert Pattinson, because he's went on to do great things.
He has managed to shake it off.
Aye. And laugh about it, as has Anna Kendrick and stuff. As Kristen Stewart is always going to be that Twilight woman.
I know. And you don't tend to see it in a lot of things these days, sadly.
I think she's probably laughing all the way to the bank, man.
Well, I don't blame her if that's what she wants to do. Go for it.
I'm saying I can sit and rip her performance all I want, but she's technically a successful actress because she's been paid very well to do it. So,
and also I think she's gone on to do other things like a lot of brand deals and like modelling and stuff like that, which she's definitely got the look for. When they come into this ballet school, there's some unusual shots of James in the mirrors.
Yeah, I thought they were in an amusement park. I was like, are they in a freaking hall of mirrors?
That's what I've written as well. I was like, it's not a house of mirrors.
I mean, you do need dance mirrors in a ballerina studio so that everybody can see that they're doing the movements appropriately.
Yeah, of course. But it did kind of feel a bit comical.
At this point, Bella sprays James with the pepper spray and it doesn't work.
Nah, doesn't do a thing.
So vampires are impervious to pepper spray as well.
Yeah. And
that's on the list of vampire perks. It's like, got sparkly, sexy skin, can run really fast, can climb trees like a spider monkey, is really moody, and can smell farts for 200 miles away, and also is impervious to pepper spray.
Yeah, she's doing better with garlic oil.
Aye, totally. That probably doesn't work in this franchise either, does it?
Well, I doubt it.
This? I don't know.
Because they were cooking Italiano food, and you can't cook Italiano
garlic,
without garlic. Yeah.
We have garlic in every frickin' meal.
So James attacks Bella in this room. He manages to break her leg with the most excruciating leg break sound. It's quite a crusher.
Aye.
Yeah, and he bites her wrist as well. He bites her on the arm.
Oh no, the vampire venom.
Yeah.
So this bit, right, she's just on the ground and she's just grunting and she's like and I was like, sorry, that must have been horrendous to watch there over there.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, what's going on? Like, I don't know, it just felt really goofy.
It was very goofy. It was very, very strange.
And I think at this point, Jasper's like, I want that.
Yeah.
And then Daddy Cullen's like, no, didn't do that. And it's like, Daddy Cullen comes out with the, remember who you are. And I'm like, calm down, Mufasa.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Cullens do burst in like the Avengers, try to catch James.
Sorry, I've just raced ahead. The Cullens then enter the fray. Aye, and that's when all that happened. Sorry.
We all knew it was coming.
Aye.
Don't worry. What I found interesting was that the vampires also have a reflection in this ballet studio.
So, nae garlic, pepper spray.
Yeah.
Because that's a classic, apparently. And nae reflection. They've got reflections too. So
yeah, which explains why they all have magnificent hair.
And they don't need to be invited in.
They don't need to be invited in, yeah.
And again, I'm not even pointing this out as a problem. I don't get why people think that the messing with the lore is an issue, because it's no an issue.
Well, you just got to take each
Aye,
story
it's
as
up
it
to
comes.
Stephanie Mayer how she writes the story.
Yeah.
I might write a short. I'm talking to you and I've been talking to my friends about writing short stories and possibly doing another podcast where they are audio book level narrated sort of horror stories that I've written. I really want to do that at some point in my life.
Yep.
If I want to write a vampire story, the vampires will come across however the hell I want.
Yeah.
And so didn't penalise her for that. You know what I mean?
No, I think that's perfectly fair. Yeah, and it seems like that's the way to kill vampires in this universe, is that you pull them apart.
Fair enough, it's pretty cool.
And you kind of detach their head from their body.
And then they go on fire, or did he set them on fire? I don't know.
So I think they set him on fire to kind of not leave a trace, I think is the issue.
The scene is wild. They're ripping him apart in the background. He's on fire. Bella's on the flare grunting and cockeyed, by the way. She's like...
Yeah, she does go a bit cockeyed.
Don't understand, right? And then, to make matters worse, this is all going on, and in the background you can just see them sort of dancing round the fire.
Yeah, it's
what's
very
going
odd.
on?
Very strange. Very strange. So, James is destroyed, as you said. It's decided that they need to get James's venom out of Bella as fast as possible, and the best way to do that is for Edward to suck it out, like a snake bite.
But he's got to be controlled because he can't lose control.
Well,
then he'll
this
end
is
up
it.
just eating her.
Yeah, and if he doesn't get the venom out, she will become a vampire, which he doesn't want.
Nah.
So, yeah, it's a bit of a catch-22, but yes, he decides to suck out the venom and shows the restraint enough to not kill her. Good job, Edward.
The severely injured Bella is taken to a hospital, and Renee meets Bella when she recovers consciousness. Renee's her ma, by the way, again, just to state. Because if you're like me and you keep forgetting their friggin' names.
Yeah, there's a lot of names.
Bella says that she wants to stay in Forks.
Yeah, because her mum suggests that she might want to come home.
Yeah.
Her mum seems to be being quite intense at this point, which you can understand as a mother's point of view. Like, you know, your child's been severely injured by a creepy boyfriend and some sort of tangential relationship with that.
Yep.
But when Bella recovers consciousness, she's alarmingly close to her face.
Yeah, she's pretty intensely close to her face.
She's super close.
Like, when I was in hospital for quite a while, I used to get visits from my mum and dad every day.
Yeah.
Bless them, they came to see me every day, as did you, right? And it's like, and it's that whole thing. Like, I remember mum and dad, like mum fussing over me constantly, because when your child is in hospital, it must be super difficult to digest that and to feel so helpless. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, like, I was always like, it's all right, mum, you didn't have to fuss, it's cool. Good. But like, it was also a really nice thing to know that, because it's a way to show how much you care.
It is.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It is.
So Edward wants Bella to go to Jacksonville with her mum.
Yeah, he does.
So that he can't hurt her anymore. But Bella refuses.
Yeah, I think it's quite nice that Edward's like, I want you to go and live a happy life.
He does, doesn't he? But you don't want to be around me, I'm toxic.
Yeah.
Kind of me, I don't know, like...
That's too... Jacksonville's too sunny for me. I'm too sparkly for that.
It's true. Jacksonville is pretty hot. Kat pointed something out here. We are quite familiar with the way oxygen works in hospital.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work like that.
Nope, it doesn't go over your eyes.
It was like the tubes were like over her, like under her eyes, and like up. It was bizarre.
It was so strange. It looked so uncomfortable. It was making me blink a lot.
They actually, so it goes from your nostrils and then along under your ear, over your ears.
Yeah.
That's how they work.
Yes.
No, up over your
Not
eyes.
over your eyes.
Oh dear. What's
Like,
going
why
on?
did nobody fix that?
And when Edward says, "I want you to go to Jacksonville," when she protests, it's genuinely, she's like, "No," for the next 20 minutes. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just the way. But the thing is, I mean, it's funny to me. But it's actually not even something I might penalise the film over, because in reality, that's something you'd probably do. If you were on that conversation when you were really upset, you would do that. Mm-hmm. So to a degree, that's a wee bit of realism and maybe something that's a wee something decent in there. Or just something that made me laugh, which is what happened.
And if you throw enough spaghetti, some will stick.
Exactly. And I think that's about what they tried to do with this movie, is like, we'll just keep throwing wee things and something will land, maybe.
I think they decided they were doing this film, and whatever landed. Whatever
they were doing this
didn't.
film because they saw how much the book had sold and they saw dollar signs. That's why they made this.
Also true.
Sorry to be so sceptical about the situation, but I believe that's the case.
I don't think you're far wrong.
Upon returning to Forks, Bella and Edward attend their school prom.
Ah,
Lovely. Jacob meets Bella and says that Billy wants her to break up with Edward.
yeah.
And he's also like, "My dad paid me to say this."
He did.
What's that about?
I know. I've no idea what that's about. Honestly.
I've actually got what the France. I've wrote, "Dad paid me to talk to you." That's what he says.
Yeah, $20 though. I think it's because Jacob knows it's a message she's not going to like.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, "Oh, my dad told me I have to tell you to do this."
I just think it's weird and it doesn't land to me and I don't understand.
It does feel very shoehorned in. But
I've actually got, I don't understand this whole interaction.
well, and also the thing is, he knows where she lives. So why does he have to hang about the prom waiting for her to arrive?
Okay, and it's
It's
weird.
all very odd.
When they arrive at the prom, that guy Eric, who's like the worm/fishman boy, fishman boy, he's like, he's the DJ.
He is the DJ.
And I'm like, I think I said that earlier. He's the DJ, and I'm like, that's the right slot for you, Eric.
Yeah, a perfect slot for Eric. Totally.
Eric's my favourite. In fact, it's between Eric and Charlie.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly reasonable, to be
Because
honest.
both of them feel more like humans, you know?
Yeah.
Even if that bit we joked about earlier where it's like, the feature's dead, when he does that, it's like, it feels really stunted and out of place, and I think that's their fault, to be honest.
No, and there's a bit earlier where Eric is just talking at Bella, and he's just constantly talking, and he's really high energy.
Ah, yes.
And that kind of fleshed out character I quite liked of Eric. Like that guy's clearly made the most of what was available.
I mean, that's me when I'm nervous or when I'm on this podcast. I sometimes rant like that and I get all excited. I can identify with Eric to some degree, I'll tell you.
I can see Eric in you too.
I'm not even mad.
There was also a guy dancing in this sort of prom overview scene. I absolutely loved it. He was doing like sort of finger wave moves. And I really loved it. I was like, that's a very nice addition.
Anyway, by the way, Jacob also says he's going to be keeping an eye on her.
Yeah, that was the kind of more sinister part of the message. Was like,
Yeah,
we'll be
like,
watching you.
My dad paid me to tell you we're going to keep keeping an eye on you.
Yeah, better break up with your boyfriend.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, very odd.
But while at the prom, Bella expresses her wish to become a vampire.
Ah.
Didn't you see that coming, eh? I'm not going to lie, I do not remember that.
Do you not?
Nope.
Oh, you must have zoned out by that point.
I was checking out by this point. I was too busy like, Eric's the DJ, yes! All right, cool, fair enough. But I mean, it's no exactly unsurprising, is it?
She states some pretty reasonable reasons for wanting to become a vampire. Like, she doesn't want to get old while he's not going to get old. And
All valid.
yeah, absolutely. And she's like, I'm ready.
It's that whole thing where it's like, but it's a curse. And it's like, but it looks pretty cool to us.
Yeah, like, to be honest. And
From
this,
us watching,
yeah.
it would be pretty sweet.
If I was going to choose to be a vampire in any universe, it might actually be this one.
But obviously, Edward's no keen on the whole vampire thing. It turns out that Victoria, and I was going to say who's Victoria, and I remember she's one of the vampires. She's one of the little sort of nomadic vampire crew.
She is.
She's secretly watching the pair dancing, plotting revenge for her lover James's death.
Oh.
Allegedly, it's not really said, but I guess that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
And that's where the film ends, just straight up ends. And Kat was like, oh, that's the end, by the way. And I burst out laughing. I was like, okay.
It's such an odd ending.
And I was like, and breathe, it's over.
So, Mikey, what did you think of the sparkly vampire film that is Twilight?
I'm just going to go and tell you what I jotted down some thoughts afterwards, okay? Didn't come at me, guys. We've said, and we say at the start of this podcast, in every episode, you're allowed to disagree, and we actively encourage you to do so. If you disagree, tell us your opinion, because I want to hear it. But anyway, that was just a wee mini disclaimer, cause I think that this film, it looks horrible, right? The colours are horrible. It's terribly filmed. It's sloppily put together. I found it really depressing and pointless.
Wow,
right?
God.
I'm sorry, right? Edward's faces and the severity, right, of how quickly they change is just baffling and super weird to look at, right? And the fact that this was such a big film blows my mind. And the fact that it was so popular, and the fact that the rating, the popcornometer score, is in the 70s, blows my mind. I think I have to say that this is maybe one of the worst films I have ever seen, and I don't think there are any redeeming qualities apart from Billy Burke's performance as Charlie.
Okay.
Right. I didn't think I can say anything positive apart from the fact that I laughed profusely throughout, which isn't the point. I think this movie wasn't made to make a point, and it wasn't made to be a good movie. This film absolutely friggin' reeks of a movie that was made to make money. That's all it was.
Yeah, I agree with you, actually.
Because no thoughts went into it at all. I mean, there is thought went into it. People have thought about the way this film looks and feels and everything, but I don't agree with those decisions. You know, I feel like possibly this film was chucked together in order to make a movie so that they could spin some cash because it was the biggest thing going at the time, which then was the case for 5 years, well, probably. I don't know if they came out every year.
I think they did, yeah.
Right, because that's generally the way these things worked, but that's what it feels like to me. It was a money spinner. You know what I mean? They've no thought. I mean, possibly. I haven't read Stephanie Meyer's book, and I'm talking about doing it, which is wild.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm tempted just to get a picture of what it's actually like written down.
Yeah.
And it might be that it's better, and it might be that actually this is just a terrible translation.
Yeah, it
could be. So, like, you know, it might be that. And it's been like, oh, let's jump on it and chuck the film out so we can make loads of money. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think that's perfectly valid.
So what did you think of the whole thing? What's your thoughts on it?
I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie.
For which reasons is my question?
Because it's hilarious, because it's so bad.
Yeah.
Like, when I first watched this film, so this is maybe the third time I've watched this film, I was expecting to go in and have this kind of epic, soppy love story.
Yeah.
And I do think they try to do that, and they fail. There's no real engagement between Bella and Edward, and I don't think.
No.
And there's no logical kind of time for that relationship to develop. There's
no depth to the relationship either.
There's not. It's very much infatuation vibes.
Which happens at that age. So like that's a fact. But there are other ways to get that across in an appropriate and accurate way. And this isn't it.
And I think that does feed into later movies.
Cool.
But that's not fair when you're kind of assessing Twilight on its own.
I'm just going to say this right now. I will pledge to watch all of these movies for this podcast over a space of time.
Good.
So we're not going to do them all in a row or whatever.
Yes.
But I will do them all. Because they are all rotten, I think.
They are all rotten, and I've got good news for you. This was the second highest rated one.
Oh, God.
So, you know, if you loved this one...
Do you know what the worst rated was? Nah.
So, Breaking Dawn Part 1 is the lowest scored film. Would you like to know the score? It won't ruin anything.
No, I think people will forget by the time we get there. 13%.
26%.
Oh.
So double your expectations. So we're on the right track.
Okay.
I think this movie is just really funny. I think the choices they make are just
surreal,
weird.
It's surreal that a lot of it got distributed without being pulled.
Yeah, like how did nobody check this and fix it?
Yeah.
I find the dialogue hilarious. Like there's parts that I absolutely burst out laughing when it shouldn't. It's supposed to be serious. But
what is going on? That was my favourite one.
Stuff like that just shouldn't make it through the filter, but did. So yeah, I enjoy these films because they're absolute trash.
It's true.
I stand by it.
So I did what I always do, and I looked online to see what people thought of this. I found an article that was like that somebody had written. It was maybe for Screen Rant or something similar, which is a website where there's articles about movies and stuff. And a few other different sources, Reddit and stuff like that, right? But people were saying that the film had a great cast. And I'm like, I don't know if some of these people were more thinking about the pentology as a whole and saying, oh, because I know like Michael Sheen's in some of them later and stuff. I don't know who he is. I have no idea. But
they do get a few bigger stars.
So there is bigger stars coming in. So maybe that's what they're referring to. But if it's to this film, I didn't think that's the case, right? Eye-catching visuals.
They're definitely eye-catching.
For the wrong reasons, right? And a strong protagonist, somebody said as well. And I was like, eh?
Well, I guess like Bella is strong-willed. Like she's not your conventional protagonist, is what I would say.
Yeah.
Like you've already said that yourself, you know, like where she didn't, like in school, you know, she managed to make friends and didn't fall into a lot of the same...
the new girl trope.
Yeah.
And I also quite enjoyed that she's actually quite likeable at times.
Yeah, I feel like they fail miserably at making her funny.
Yeah.
She's not funny. But yeah, I guess she's not a conventional girly girl, you know, maybe so I could see an argument for a strong protagonist.
Fair enough, aye. People liked sort of how bleak and horrible, and people liked the sort of bleak, sort of dreekness Forks as well.
Like I would definitely want to go and visit Forks. It does look lovely.
Yeah, like the forest and that around, I guess, but it's no high up on my list of places to visit. Whether it exists or not, I don't can.
Tell you what, we'll just go to Seattle instead.
Yeah, I'm there. Let's do that. And folk mentioned nostalgia, which is kind of gave me the book because it's already nostalgic for certain people. And that was somebody on Reddit, I think, was like, oh, it's nostalgic.
I guess that makes sense. Like if you...
Depending on I don't know what age, you didn't care what age these people are.
Well, this is exactly what I was going to say. Like you see if this film had come out when I was like 10 years old, I probably would have loved it.
Aye.
I do love it, but for all the wrong reasons.
So then, therefore, those people who were 10 when this came out are now whatever age.
Yeah, it'll be like 20.
Aye, and they're like, oh man, I loved that movie when I was a kid. Like,
see, this is the thing.
And we talked about nostalgia, what was it we called it last? Over-appreciation when we were talking about Turtles. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Entirely possible.
Mm-hmm.
That was online. That was that article I found and some stuff on Reddit and stuff as well.
Excellent.
But also I thought, well, on the flip side, who thinks it's bad and what do people think? And folk kind of were quick to point out the poor character development and the acting and the dialogue and the problematic portrayal of relationships, which we didn't speak about throughout, but I spoke to you about once I'd read that and I was like, Kat, what does that mean? And you were like, well, Edward's always telling her what to do.
He is.
And he's always bossing her around. He's always dead moody with her and dead horrible to her. And she's all like, oh my God, it's so hot. And it's like, that's not right. It's problematic.
It is problematic. And it does go both ways. And the two of them just are so unhinged.
Yeah.
They're so unbalanced. They snap at each other. They have such terrible mood swings. Like, it's quite potentially toxic.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it says here as well, like somebody had said, I jotted this down, unhealthy relationship dynamics kind of ties into that too. But like, that was similar to the stuff I'd kind of said as well, although I just kind of feel like I slammed it, but these people kind of give you better points, you know, and they're all true, I think.
I agree.
All valid. Mm-hmm. All valid. Anyway, I feel like a movie like this probably has some smashing trivia, Kat, does it? It
does indeed.
Class.
Would you like some?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Trivia time. Robert Pattinson actually plays the piano in the scene where Edward is playing Bella's Lullaby.
Ah, is that what the track's called? Bella's Lullaby. Cool. That was the piano scene that you didn't remember.
Yeah, my bad. The scenes are so memorable in this film. As soon as Robert Pattinson was cast, he moved to Oregon and began working on his character, both physically and mentally. He worked out 5 hours a day with a trainer, learning to fight, play baseball, and do stunts. He also learned to drive and got an Oregon driver's license.
Oh, cool. So he's just like newly passed when he was doing all these pure mad tricks.
Yeah.
And dangerous driving.
Totally. I don't know who his driving instructor was, but
yeah,
he's definitely getting more than minors, that's for sure. This bit of trivia will absolutely not shock you, and I think it'll confirm a lot of the things that you suspected.
Oh, aye.
The movie was shot in 48 days.
Oh my goodness.
Hence the small budget.
All right, guys, that's not a very long period of time, just
that
in case you're, you know.
Really not.
Like, I always compare things to Lord of the Rings, but Lord of the Rings took literally years to make.
It took a decade.
They all moved to New Zealand for like 10 years to make those movies.
Yeah, it was funny, we were watching Bookworm last night and we were like, oh, I think that was that bit.
Yeah, and I'm meaning to look that up because there was a few bits we were sitting around that looked like moments from the movies, and it was definitely felt like it was really cool. It was almost natural to watch Elijah Wood as an American character walking around New Zealand again. It's quite cool.
That was such a good film.
It was really good. It's better than this movie. Watch Bookworm. If you're going to sit down and watch Twilight, didn't just watch Bookworm.
Kristen Stewart wore a hairpiece so that they didn't have to waste time doing her hair and therefore had more time to shoot.
Yeah, because we only got 48 freaking days, so...
You've set yourself this impossible deadline. This is why they didn't go back and fix things.
Yeah. I mean, that's totally valid, aye.
Crazy. A week before filming began, Robert Pattinson didn't talk to anyone to try and feel as isolated as possible to get into the character of Edward Cullen.
It's not necessary.
No, you don't need to go method for this one, Humbug.
The thing is, but at the same time, at least he's trying.
Yeah, he took it so seriously.
I can't help it. Like, you know, a terrible job here. Right?
Yeah.
But is it because of the material he's given? I don't know. He's only doing what he's told to do, and he's doing the best he can do with it.
This is it.
I guess. But unfortunately, that material is so poor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't reflect well on him, and I think that's unfair. And that's what I'm saying as well. I feel sorry for him, and I feel sorry for Kristen Stewart, because these movies will always be on their CVs forever.
It's true. And also they were so young, so very young, like when this was done. Like, I think when you look at like Mickey 17, he was exceptional in that.
Mickey 17 ruled. That movie kicked ass.
He was very, very good. And I know you didn't like The Lighthouse.
I didn't like The Lighthouse.
The performance in it was good.
Yeah.
It took 13 takes to get the film with Edward and the apple.
13. Is that why they ended up using computer animation at the end to get it to work?
That's why they did it backwards.
Did they do it backwards?
I don't know.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
But who knows? Anyway.
While filming the scene with Rosalie shattering the glass bowl while they're cooking dinner, the character Rosalie cut her hand, so Nikki Reed cut her hand on the glass.
She's wearing frickin' gloves.
And that's why she's wearing gloves in that scene.
I found that odd. I meant to say earlier.
Yeah.
When we were talking about the smashing bowl scene. Mm-hmm. I was too busy talking about something else. I forgot to say she's wearing gloves. And that'd be why then. That's wild.
Because she cut her hand. Forbes has estimated that Carlyle had a net worth of $34 billion solely from compound interest accrued over the hundreds of years. So this is why he can keep forging those documents.
So he is Oprah rich.
He is minted. The original release date for this film was December the 12th, 2008. When the release date for Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince was moved from November 21st, 2008 to July 17th, 2009, Twilight's release date was moved forward to November 21st in an attempt to fill the gap that Harry Potter left.
It's clever.
Monopolise on that.
Well, is it like, well, we've got this other huge series that's based on a very successful book. Mm-hmm. The difference is a lot of care and attention went into making those Harry Potter movies.
They did. They're very different vibe.
We've actually had a lot of conversations about J.K. Rowling and how she's a hateful bitch and I can't stand her, right?
Yeah.
And it's tarnished somewhat my enjoyment of Harry Potter, but I don't think it'll ever tarnish those movies because all the work those people put in to make them.
Yeah.
All the work that, all those great performances and all these amazing actors and all the hard work that went into them that had nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Absolutely sod all. And I've got a lot of respect for those the filmmakers, the people in the movie. So, but that's a great idea, is to bring these movies out to fill that gap, because folk are craving the next Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, we've not got Harry Potter, but we can go and see this Twilight shite. Let's go and see that.
Exactly. That's it. So I think that was quite a clever marketing move on their part. And that's the end of the trivia.
That was quite good.
Thanks.
I'm going to try and kick an apple into my hand and see if I can do it.
You can do it with Granny Smith, no managed red ones.
Okay. My Granny Smiths are my precious apples. My precious apples. This film had no Wilhelm scream because it's no cool enough for that, basically.
No, there's definitely not enough action for Wilhelm scream.
Nope. Favourite line, Cat? From the lines discussed.
This is the skin of a killer.
A killer.
I don't know why I say it like that, but I do.
This is what I am.
It's like diamonds. You're beautiful.
Beautiful. This is the skin of a killer, Bella.
Oh, honestly, the skin of a killer.
Oh, dearie dear.
Still want to marry him, though, eh? What about you, Mikey?
There's a few different lines in this one I could talk about, but in the interest of talking about something a little bit lighter, I like it when he's in the restaurant and he's going through what everybody's thinking. Money, sex, money, sex, cat.
I love the cat sigh.
I like that, but I also like what amuses me is the way when he says sex, he's tried to say it in the sexiest, huskiest sort of emphasising it way possible. Sex. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, ugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I found it quite funny, but I just enjoy the guy with the cat at the end.
Yeah, I also enjoy the cat.
Did you pick up a favourite sound in this movie, Cat?
I did indeed. My favourite sound is when they're having a little face-off with the nomadic vampires and they just start hissing at each other for some reason.
It's more of a sort of weird breath at each other.
What is that?
I don't know, and it's like they've got the same guy and they've just layered the sound over as well.
It does sound like that.
That's what it sounds like. And it's like, always when we do the favourite sound, I rip the little tiny snippet from the movie, a little tiny bit, and that was ripped from it. So that's actually how it sounds. It's surreal,
bizarre.
For me, it was the sound that the guy makes when she spikes the volleyball and it hits the guy in the head during the PE class at the start. Whoa!
To be fair, that's actually probably quite accurate of when you get hit in the back of the head with a ball.
Probably, aye. Probably like, that's what I'd do.
Yeah.
Also, did they say the name of the film in the film? Nobody says Twilight.
No, I don't think anyone says Twilight.
Nobody says Twilight. It's probably for the best.
Yeah, they say Forks a lot though.
They do say Forks. So if the film was called Forks, we would have said the name of the film in the film, but they didn't say Twilight.
They do not.
Right, Kat, are you ready for review time?
My favourite, yes.
These are the audience reviews from Rotten Tomatoes, not the critic ones, because the critic ones are just utter wank.
They are.
A lot of the time, I find them that way. So yeah, our first audience review says, Melissa Rosenberg does have a made-for-TV feel to her writing. I thought the story could have been done in a more developed way. Then again, I'm thinking adult mature drama/thriller. This is targeted at young adults. I watched Hunger Games after years of putting it off. That, by contrast, was done to a high-quality film standard. I can't say Catherine Hardwicke helped. The producers have some great films on their resumes. Not sure why they couldn't elevate this work. That's fair.
I think that's absolutely fair. I think it's a really good review.
The Hunger Games movies are well made.
They are well made
Like, regardless of what you think about them, they're quite well. There's a lot of thought, a lot of effort. They weren't filmed over 48 days or whatever it was.
No, they're really high quality.
All right, cool. This person, love this, right? Literally so bad.
Good start.
I can't imagine anyone watches this unironically. Unfortunately, that is the case. I think people do watch it unironically.
I think they
love
do.
It. Like, I watched it ironically and it was so bad. Like, what the hell is Spider Monkey? And why does Jake never have a shirt on? And why are vampires glittery? That can't be right. Nobody talk to me about this movie, please. Don't talk to me about Twilight, all right?
So I think Jake does always have a shirt on in this film.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was going to ask you about that immediately, actually. And then...
Yeah, in the subsequent films, I think he basically never has a shirt on.
Interesting. We'll have to watch out for that when we do friggin' Breaking Dawn, or whatever the next one is, was it?
I think it's Eclipse.
Ellipses, or rather.
Next. Eclipse.
I've only glossed the titles, okay?
Eclipse. Or maybe it's New Moon. I can never get the order
Well,
right.
it makes sense because they're all moon related. Twilight is nothing to do with the moon, I think.
Well, the moon's kind of coming out.
Eclipse, and then you've got Breaking Dawn, so that's Dawn, and then is there another one?
Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Yeah.
And New Moon.
New Moon. So they're all moon related, essentially.
Yeah, they're not a great collection of names.
No, they're not named after like punctuation, ellipses, commas, speech marks, full stops.
Sorted. That's you covered.
Oh man, so this is again, people are going on to review Twilight but reviewing the whole franchise, but that's fair enough, I guess. The movies are extremely boring. They are 2D. They are, yeah.
Yeah, they are quite shallow, yeah. Oh, famously in 2D.
They are 2D, no, they're not 3D. They are 2D. The plot is stupid, the writing is stupid, the acting is questionable, the humour is for middle schoolers, it's boring, it's bad, not worth watching. Bella is so annoying and stupid, it's corny and idiotic. Apologies, that was really hard to read because they haven't used any punctuation. Well, they have, and then just given up halfway through.
I was impressed that you had that much air to get through it.
Aye.
In your lungs.
So was I. Wow. Okay. I watch these movies 1,000 times every year, hope to see a new one in future.
Wow. So if somebody has watched a movie 1,000 times in a year, that means they're watching it
multiple times in a day.
3 times a day?
Yep. They really like Twilight.
Yeah. Some days they take a day off and only watch it twice.
And then you have to watch it 4 the next. To make up for it. I feel like they might be exaggerating somewhat.
Yeah. I do wonder if we'll ever see a Twilight reboot, like as a TV series
or
something.
You will, because it's TV series more likely, because that's what's happening with Harry Potter, as we discussed earlier. That's absolutely going to happen. Yeah. I think. Because it's going to make more money.
And it would be interesting to see if it was able to be explored in more depth, given that neither of us have read the source material.
I'm wondering that maybe they will do it justice. It could maybe happen. I don't know what the source material is like, and I might do it. I'm not committing to that right now. Right, because I'll end up committing myself if I do, possibly. But I think it's I feel really sceptical saying this about money all the time, but I think that's a factor here.
Oh, 100%.
That's why they're making Harry Potter again.
Yeah.
There's no reason to make Harry Potter again.
Not so soon.
We can just enjoy the movies that are there, and lesser so the books now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't really need to happen. I'll still watch it all, probably.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know, probably.
Yeah, but we'll see. Watch this space for a Twilight reboot.
That's it. Right, this person, like, this is, because I've said this quite a lot throughout, lol, I'm watching Twilight right now, and the facial expressions are insane. Her logic, ooh, shiny, so pretty, crazy. She wants to be with him forever, and she's like 14. It's worth a watch, if not to laugh at.
Yeah, I think she's totally right. The facial expressions are insane.
I normally say before I do this that I'm reading them as verbatim, so that's why it sounded a bit weird, because that's what she's written. But the facial expressions, that's what I've said countless times. And I kept pointing out to you when we were watching the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going on with their faces, man?
Honestly.
Surreal.
I don't think any of them know how to have a normal facial expression.
Nah. Oh, dearie me. It's interesting to see some people's thoughts, but there's nobody out there that's saying it's a work of art, interestingly. So I think that even in the public consciousness for folk who love this film, even they know it sucks. That's what I've taken from that.
There might be some twihards out there in the community who feel that it is the best thing ever.
Is that a thing?
Yes, that is what they refer to them as, the fan base, the twihards.
I just refer to it as twishite. So, Kat, hit me with it. It's ranking time. Is Twilight fresh or rotten?
For me, this film is rotten, and I love it.
It's okay to like a rotten film. It's like I said, I feel like I maybe should have said Van Helsing was rotten, perhaps. But can I change it now?
Nope. And you, Mikey?
All right, I'm going to say this, right? I think this film is rank rotten.
Not even just rotten.
Nah. In fact, you know what? I should have said the same damn thing about Forever My Girl. That was also rank rotten. Right, so we're going to have a third category, which is rank rotten, which is something I think we should introduce.
Okay.
Just for these two movies. This was rank rotten, Forever My Girl was rank rotten. But at least Forever My Girl had some redeeming qualities. All right? It did. It had a couple. The wee girl was really good in it.
She was
Some
really
of the
good.
acting was really good. Jessica Roth is really good in that film.
She was very good, actually.
The music is not. The story is not. A lot of it is not. It sucked. This is worse. This is the piss. This is rank rotten. There you go. You were wanting to hear me say this. That's why you wanted me to watch this damn movie, yeah?
I've been trying to get you to watch this film forever, and this podcast was my excuse.
I've said I've dedicated myself. I'm going to watch all of them for the podcast.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Aye, and would you watch it again, Kat?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, I would.
Do you know what? I'd be there with you, but I'll have the Nintendo Switch in my hand playing Stardew Valley or something.
That's fine. Next time, we'll do the classic. We'll get an Indian takeaway and watch it. Make it a thing.
Sounds good.
I think if you go into Twilight expecting to have an absolute hoot, then you're on the right track.
Well,
you will enjoy
was
it.
because you were saying that to me, and you knew I was going to have a laugh with it. So.
Totally.
So, Kat, we've had some feedback.
Ooh,
some listener
nice.
feedback. Absolutely. So, firstly, and it's good feedback, don't you worry.
Oh,
right?
That's all right then, even better.
I know. Oh, God.
Whew,
right.
sigh of relief.
So, we've got our third Apple Podcast review, and it's from Lindy Lou D. Lindy Lude. Right. And it says, great. It was called Good Chemistry, Looking Forward to More. Right. And it was great podcast. I love the way these two bounce off each other. It's very natural and enjoyable to listen to. I watched the movie before listening to this, and I felt this made it more enjoyable. I'm looking forward to more episodes. Best of luck.
Oh, thank you, Lindy Lude.
That's class, eh?
Yeah, that's really nice feedback.
It is. And the other thing we had, which is we got an email, and it was a lovely email from Matt from Oh My Glob. And I know I talk about Matt and Amy quite a bit, but it's because they have been quite pivotal in this podcast journey that we've been on.
Definitely, yeah.
Massively. So, yeah, he said, hi, Mikey and Kat. Matt here. I just wanted to say I'm loving the show. It's hard to believe you only recently started podcasting. Your chemistry is great. Your sound quality is light years better than the average independent podcast. And your show strikes the perfect balance of being both informative and hilarious. I loved the Lake Placid episode. And I have a little fun fact. Mikey, I think you asked at one point in the episode if moose are common in Maine. As someone who grew up in that area of the States,
Oh, wow.
I can say they are very common. In fact, I came face to face with one at the back door of my childhood home.
Oh, my goodness. Imagine opening the
That's
kitchen
wild.
door and they'd be like, oh, there's a moose.
Look at they're gigantic, man.
Yeah, massive.
Like, we seen a deer the other day. We were on our way to the kind of the gym or something in the morning a few Sundays ago, and a deer came running out onto the road nearby us because there's deer all around here, and it was pretty big. It was a wee deer. It was like a baby deer. It was like Bambi, and it came running out, but I'm like, it was quite big, but can you only imagine how big a moose must be? You know what I mean?
Yeah, massive.
Anyway, I just wanted to say I'm loving the pod. Keep up the great work, and I can't wait to finish watching Van Helsing so I can listen to your episode, Matt.
Oh, Matt, that was really sweet.
It's one of these things. So I've had some messages from friends recently too, who have told me how much they're enjoying this and how they think it's going, and that's been positive.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I've been working on this thing, and it's a lot of work, editing
a lot of
everything,
work, yeah.
and putting everything together and doing research and stuff. And I'm like, is it worth it? And the answer is always going to be yes, because we have such fun doing it, and it's such fun to put out and to have this little thing that we can always go back and listen to, and it's something that we can do together, and that's what's magical about it to me.
And me.
But to hear friends and stuff say how much they love it, it's brilliant, and it makes it worth it.
It does make it worth it. Like, we have a laugh regardless. Like, we had a laugh watching every movie we watch.
Yep.
We have a good time. And it's really nice to be able to share that. And also, I'm a total glutton for punishment in that the more trashy a movie is, the more I tend to enjoy it. So I get to indulge that guilty pleasure as well.
And now you get to talk about them at length.
We do. And I get to drag you into that world with me.
All right, Kat, so now I think I've been quite excited about this because next week is my mystery pick.
It is.
And you don't know what this movie is.
Not a clue.
And I have constantly nearly spat it out to you by mistake. On several occasions, especially as the closer this day's got, and I've actually managed to get here without saying.
You have?
So, I've had a couple of conversations recently, and we've had recommendations and requests for this movie.
Okay.
So I had requests from Matt, actually. I've had a conversation with my brother. There was someone else that requested this movie as well. So I can't no listen, especially when it's a movie I really want to talk about, and a movie that was a huge part of my childhood, or at least my teens.
Okay.
We're talking about Jason X.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're going full slasher space horror for the next movie.
Space?
Yes. Space.
Oh, wow.
Have you not seen Jason X?
I've never seen Jason X.
Oh, you're going to love it.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Highly entertaining is the way I'd put it. It's a much better movie than Twilight, but
doesn't take much.
It's really entertaining. So I think that you're going to take that away from it. At least you're going to be like, this is fun, and you're going to have a laugh. So I'm very excited about that. Guys, if you want to write into us, you can do so. You can do what Matt did and send us an email. Our email is rankrottenpod@gmail.com. That's rankrottenpod@gmail.com.
And if you want to reach out to us on the socials with either movie recommendations or if you've got some feedback on the show, we'd love to hear it. And on Instagram, we are @rankrottenpod, and the same on Threads.
Yeah, and like, you can just send us a message to say hello if you want. You don't even have to give us an insight into a movie. Whatever you want, we will read it out. If you're listening to the podcast and you're out there enjoying it, please give us a wee rating. We didn't have many, but for those who have rated us, we're super thankful. We've had a few reviews now on Apple Podcasts, and we've had a few ratings on Spotify. But please, if you're listening, you can enjoy, and please give us a wee 5-star rating, because it'll help us massively. We're only wee, and we want to grow and get more people talking about movies and being little movie dorks with us.
Yeah, and just a little point to note before we go head off is that we'll have a little bit of a longer gap between episodes.
Oh, sorry, of course. So it's Kat's birthday.
It is my birthday.
Coming up, and so we decided, because Kat's got a week off work, so I'm also going to take a week off of podcast stuff.
Yeah.
And we're just going to have a week, most of a week without it. Probably end up watching a movie at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Jason X will be out on the 18th of July, if all going well. And if it doesn't, and if there's a problem, it will be on our social media. So do follow us on there, because you're going to get a wee clip of the upcoming episode. Any other things, we'll update you on there, such as if there's a problem and we end up having to delay anything, which can happen.
Some top quality Twilight memes.
Twilight memes, I'll probably try and dig some of those out. You can also follow us on subscribe on YouTube. Full episodes are going up there, and the short, which is the clip of the upcoming episode, also goes on YouTube, so you can listen there too. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. That's us off. I'm done talking about vampires. I'm away to watch Steven Universe.
Oh, your skin's sparkling in my eyes.
I can. It's because it's like diamonds and it's so beautiful. Bye.
Bye.